in the last year. Today, historically low interest rates and spiking inflation present new risks and opportunities for investors. If you haven't made changes to your investments in the last year, it's time for a portfolio review. With 100 years of combined experience, our team can help you prepare for the risks relevant to today's investors. Contact the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel to request a free portfolio review at clearpathinvesting.com or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
They have a lot of questions. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Even though the president's nominee has been before the U.S. Senate several times already, but this is different. Now she's a Supreme Court nominee. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
When Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson delivers an opening statement this afternoon, she will be the first Black woman to do so as a Supreme Court nominee.
We're living witness to the fact that in America, all is possible.
The committee chairman, Democrat Dick Durbin, opened the hearing with a statement of his own. Each of the 22 senators on the panel now doing the same.
You will not be accused of something that you could not defend yourself against until it was too late.
Senator Lindsey Graham and other Republicans have pointed to the hearings of Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett as examples of nominees treated unfairly. A first round of questions for Judge Jackson are scheduled to begin tomorrow morning. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas remains hospitalized in Washington and is said to be responding to IV antibiotics. The court says he does not have COVID, but hasn't confirmed other information about the infection that sent him to the hospital on Friday. The Russian military is claiming that a shopping mall it hit on the outskirts of the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv, was being used to store rockets. The Russian attack on that mall late yesterday killed as many as 8 people.
Ukrainian officials saying that shopping center was destroyed and the blast was so big it burned nearby cars and sent shrapnel into homes that surrounded the area. Now, due to this increased risk of attack, officials have announced a new curfew. It starts tonight at 8 p.m. local and lasts through Wednesday morning.
Fox's Jeff Paul in Lviv. Meantime, Ukrainian officials rejecting a Russian demand to surrender Mariupol in exchange for safe passage out of that embattled city, where officials say more than 2,000 people have died during the siege. America is listening to Fox News.
Your goals, your future, your dreams. These things are none of our business. Your credit score, your true crime obsession, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., that's really none of our business. Because your life is private, and unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, is someone there? Oh, that's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect opportunity for a significant business upgrade. Save up to 45% on Dell computers with Windows 11 Pro and get an easy start to your workday. Plus, enjoy special pricing on Dell docks, monitors, servers, and more, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today to find the right tech for your business with fast, free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Breezy and warm on this Monday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Let's top out right around 76 degrees. Tonight, clouds and showers. Could be a spot thunderstorm, but nothing severe. Windy and 50. Tuesday, windy, slightly cooler. Couple of showers, but no all-day rain. 62 degrees. Wednesday, periods of rain. High temperatures Wednesday, only in the 40s. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
It's happening right here, right now.
I will do what needs to be done to reduce the price you pay at the pump.
Even if we drilled as much as we could, the price of oil is still set globally.
This Keystone pipeline, it would take years for that to have an impact on prices.
There's an impediment to production in the United States.
Right here, right now.
And it's called the bankers on Wall Street.
The price of oil is very much dependent upon the global supply.
It's because of COVID affecting the supply chain.
97.1 FM Talk.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Hi, this is Arnold, owner of the Good Feet store. Do you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning because of a sharp pain in your heel?
I did. I had plantar fasciitis. I had a burning sensation on the bottom of my feet. I went to the Good Feet store, and what a relief. And now I never go without my Good Feet support.
Are your knees and back killing you by the end of the day?
It was getting so severe, I almost stopped walking. I have no problems with my knees now. I couldn't believe how fast it helped me.
You deserve a better life too. Come to the Good Feet store today.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Dearborn.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Pain relief and comfort to fit any budget. Come in for a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. When it comes to your tax issues, why would you trust some faceless national company that uses cartoons in its ads to protect you? Tax problems are not funny and should not be treated lightly. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue and you need a lawyer that will protect your rights. You can't meet face-to-face with a cartoon. And what happens if the national company can't resolve your issue and stops returning calls? Do yourself a favor and call the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. I am a local attorney specializing in tax resolution. You can come in and sit down with a licensed, experienced attorney and put a name with a face. When it comes to tax issues, don't go with a cartoon. Get serious help with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 2.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 314-567-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing, join my blues.
NMLS 114937, 2.875% fixed, 3.976% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Discover thousands of dollars in new tax credits and your biggest refund guaranteed with Jackson Hewitt. Schedule an appointment with one of our tax pros to get a head start on your taxes. Go to jacksonhewitt.com to learn more and find a location near you.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere. Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by The Loading Dock, Riverviews, outdoor dining, live music, and overnight accommodations. Visit GraftonLoadingDock.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I want us to vet Judge Jackson's judicial philosophy. I don't want us to attack her as a human. I want us to be having a debate about what her judicial philosophy is, because when you go on the court, if you get lifetime tenure, it's because you don't confuse yourself with a super legislator, and we need to know that that judicial modesty there is there and they're responsible.
Senator Ben Sasse reacting to the confirmation hearing starting this week for Judge, I should say, Ketanji Brown Jackson, the one nominated, I should say, by President Biden to fill the Justice Breyer vacancy bearing his retirement. So the beginning of that confirmation hearing has started today with like opening statements. So if you're super duper into that type of stuff, you can hear those opening statements. But those confirmation hearings are going to take place throughout the course of this week. And we will have updates for you throughout the course of the week as news continues to be made. But right now, let's get a good foundation of who we are looking to confirm to the Supreme Court with an expert, John Malcolm, who's the VP of the Heritage Institute for Constitutional Government. John, it is a real pleasure to have you on the show with us today.
Great to be with you, Annie. Thanks for having me on.
So what would you like the American people to know about this judge that President Biden has appointed to the Supreme Court?
Well, it's certainly the judge that the leftist groups that support him, or the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, wanted. So Demand Justice had early on tagged her as sort of a favorite, and they got their wish. The president, when he was running for the nomination to be president, had pledged to name an African-American woman to the court, and Ketanji Brown Jackson is the person whom we settled on. So she's 51 years old. She's been a judge now for 9 years, 8 of those on the district court. She clerked for 3, she went to Harvard Law School, clerked for 3 federal judges, including Justice Breyer, the person whom she would replace. She was in private practice at several different law firms. She was also a federal public defender for a couple of years, working on appellate cases. And she worked as both a staffer and then as a member of the United States Sentencing Commission. She has a pretty broad record. She has not written on a lot of constitutional cases, but she's written a lot on statutory cases, administrative cases, sort of things that come before the D.C. District Court. And she's going to be asked a lot about crime, and how Senator Hawley has already raised about how she has treated sex offenders and child pornographers who have been sentenced before her. In private practice, she obviously represented criminal defendants on appeal when she was a federal defender. In private practice, she also, and as a federal defender, she represented some Gitmo detainees. And she's going to be asked a lot of questions about her judicial philosophy. She said last June, when she was elevated from the district court to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, that she didn't have any judicial philosophy per se, which is very surprising for somebody who graduated from Harvard Law School, clerked for a Supreme Court justice, has been a judge for 9 years.
So we're speaking with John Malcolm, VP of Heritage Institute for Constitutional Government. And I'm curious about that question right there, because I believe that was a question posed to her from Ted Cruz during her confirmation hearing just took place a year ago. The president has said, she was just confirmed last year. Are these senators going to turn around and now vote against her when she was okay a year ago? Now, potentially, would she not be okay? What is the difference between what she was confirmed to a year ago and what the Supreme Court responsibility would hold for her?
Well, unless there's a constitutional amendment or the Supreme Court reverses itself on constitutional cases, the Supreme Court is the last word. Sitting on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals is certainly very important. It's frequently called, I think correctly so, the second most important court in the land, but the most important court is the Supreme Court. There are only 9 justices. They usually serve well past the time that the president who nominated them leaves office, and they have a dramatic effect, too big an effect, in my opinion, on the law in this country. It's true that when she was elevated to the D.C. Circuit last June, there were 3 Republicans that voted to do that. It was Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Lindsey Graham. But when Clarence Thomas was confirmed to the D.C. Circuit, then Senator Joe Biden said, now listen, because we've confirmed you to the D.C. Circuit doesn't mean that if you come back before us, before the Supreme Court, that we're going to confirm you. And lo and behold, a year and a half later, Clarence Thomas was nominated to the Supreme Court. And even though Biden had voted to confirm him to the D.C. Circuit, he led the fight to defeat him, which failed, fortunately, to get onto the Supreme Court.
So, John, let's talk a little bit about the balance of the Supreme Court, who Justice Breyer is, what his responsibility or what his contribution, I should say, is to the Supreme Court. His absence being replaced by a potential Justice Jackson here. What kind of shift does that make the Supreme Court absorb?
Well, on broad strokes, it's not much of a shift since you are replacing one quote unquote liberal with another. That doesn't mean that in individual cases it doesn't make a huge difference. It certainly can. You just need to watch what Neil Gorsuch did in the Bostock case, which dealt with whether or not sexual orientation or gender identity would constitute a discrete class for purposes of employment discrimination. You could never imagine Justice Scalia, the man who he replaced, having voted the same way that Gorsuch did. In the same way that Justice Breyer on criminal cases often sided with the conservatives on the court. Business disputes, he often sided with the conservatives on the court. On most other social issues, abortion, racial preferences, the death penalty, et cetera, he was very much in the liberal camp, and I would expect that Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, if she is confirmed, would be the same. So it's not as consequential as, say, replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg with Amy Coney Barrett, or even replacing a conservative-leaning but with a distinct libertarian streak justice like Anthony Kennedy with a Brett Kavanaugh. It's more like replacing Scalia with Gorsuch.
We're speaking right now with John Malcolm, who's the VP of the Heritage Institute for Constitutional Government. I'm curious what your anticipation is for this confirmation process. We have seen some pretty dramatic ones, certainly with Justice Kavanaugh, and then again with Amy Coney Barrett. The stakes were very high as she was replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do you expect, especially considering all the other news that's going on in the world today, for this confirmation hearing to go, have the tough questions asked, have them be answered, and then she's confirmed?
Well, look, the odds are high that she's going to be confirmed. All 50 Democratic senators are back in Washington. Senator Lujan of New Mexico has recovered. He's back in Washington. There isn't a single Democratic senator who has voted against any of the judicial nominees that have been submitted by Joe Biden. And I would be surprised if any of the Democratic senators were to vote against, a nominee of the person who would be the first African-American woman on the Supreme Court. So the votes are there, even if not a single Republican votes for her. It would be a 50-50 tie, and Kamala Harris, in a role as president of the Senate, would break that tie. But I do think that the Republicans can, make some very serious points and say, look, when you have a Democrat in the White House and a Democrat-controlled Senate, this is the kind of justice that you get. But if you ended up having a Republican in the White House and a Republican-controlled Senate, you would get a very different kind of justice, one who has a more modest view of the role, one who is an originalist and a textualist and isn't sort of making it up as they go along to reach results that they find politically palatable. So I think that they will, even if she is ultimately confirmed, as I expect she probably will be, the Republicans can still make their points to the broader audience that's paying attention to this.
John, I want to ask you to listen to, with myself and with the audience here, a reaction to some of those comments made by Josh Hawley, by Ellie Mistel.
But I don't want to let the Josh Hawley thing lie, because here's where I need the Democrats to step up. Because when they try to smear her, I need the Democrats to get up there and defend her just as vociferously as Lindsey Graham defended alleged attempted rapist Brett Kavanaugh. I need that level of energy from the Democrats, especially when they come at her with this trumped up alleged issues about her sentencing on for sex offenders. Because what Josh Hawley is doing, let's be very clear. What Josh Hawley is doing when he tries to do this is he's trying to get her killed. He is trying to get violence done against a Supreme Court nominee.
Can you tell, that this is the drama to me that is going to be drummed up outside of the actual hearing? I have a feeling that people are bracing themselves for another Kavanaugh moment each time they hear that there's a potential Supreme Court justice to be confirmed. What is Ellie Mistel talking about there in regards to Josh Hawley's questions about her record on sentencing of child pornographers?
I was wondering who that was. All right. So now I'm not surprised by that. I thought, yes, the Democrats are going to defend the nominee from, Josh Hawley speaking right now with his opening statement. But, trying to get her killed, wow, look at that. So what Josh Hawley has pointed out is that, look, when she was at Harvard Law School, she wrote an unsigned student note for the Harvard Law Review, which she's now acknowledged having written, in which she said, I think that sex offenders are treated too harshly by the criminal justice system. When she was a commissioner on the Sentencing Commission, she called for an end to all mandatory minimum penalties, and that would include mandatory minimum penalties for sex offenders. Josh Hawley also, in his tweet thread, pointed out that there were at least 7 cases, all involving sex offenders and all child sex predators, collecting child porn and distributing child porn. And in each one of those cases, she sentenced those defendants to a sentence that was below the recommended sentencing guideline range. I've already seen some refutations coming out saying that the government had, some of these cases had recommended a below guideline range sentence, or the probation office had recommended. But this is the kind of debate that's going to be happening. And my God, if Eli Mistel was concerned about violence against a nominee, where was he when Brett Kavanaugh was being accused of being an attempted rapist?
Yeah, Mike on our Facebook page says they can't defend her, they only attack Hawley. I mean, those are the type of questions. If you want to be on the Supreme Court, I mean, you have to answer for the actions that you've taken in the past, and she should be prepared, I would assume, with a response to that type of a question.
Yes, look, this is her fourth confirmation hearing. She's been before the Senate Judiciary Committee as a sentencing commissioner, a district court judge, and a circuit court judge. She's going to be prepared for all of these, but if she is confirmed to the Supreme Court, the American public will have a pretty good idea about the kind of person whom the president has nominated. He has nominated, by the way, a huge number of defense attorneys to the federal bench, and she's the latest one.
All right, John Malcolm, a pleasure to have you on the show. Please come back again. We appreciate you.
Sounds great, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Vice President of the Heritage Institute for Constitutional Government there, John Malcolm. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk to Hogan Gidley in a minute, and we're going to talk about that thing that you all want to talk about, Hunter Biden's laptop. I don't think President Biden wants us talking about it, but, it's real now because the New York Times says so. 18 months ago when they covered it up so that the now President Biden could make sure he could secure that election. Now it's real. And now the question that I have is, are we going to talk about how the Biden administration, then campaign, worked with social media and the media to keep it quiet? Or are we going to ask the questions about what kind of nefarious connections does the administration have to these global leaders? Let's ask Hogan in a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. History looks back on times like this. Where do you stand? 97.1 FM Talk is here to spotlight what would otherwise be left in the dark. Right here, right now. 97.1 FM Talk.
Flooring shopping is something I can think of. If I think back about shopping for flooring when I was a kid, like if you had to tag along with your parents while they talked to the flooring salesman, that's boring. That's really boring stuff. When you're a grown-up, it's weirdly exciting, isn't it? When you know the transformation that installing that flooring in your home, whether it's your old home or maybe you're moving into a new place and you want to make a change or replace the carpet or go with a hardwood look, but you're not sure what kind of technology you want. All of a sudden, that gives you some grown-up excitement that you just can't understand when you're a kiddo. If you want what makes it the most exciting, which is the best value, you need to check out Michael's Flooring Outlet. Online at igotfloor.com, that's where you go to see the inventory that they have in stock, also to get an idea of the different types of products they have. But when you go visit any of their 3 locations, you are going to quickly understand why their customer sales service staff is the best in the business and why they deserve at least one visit of your time before you make a purchasing decision. I think I know what you're going to decide to do after that. Learn more about Michael's Flooring Outlet online at igotfloor.com.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
Are you a baby boomer with questions or concerns regarding your retirement plan? How about the future of U.S. tax rates and trends? Does your retirement portfolio fully support your income needs? I'm Ken Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. I can help answer those questions and more. Register for one of our upcoming retirement workshops on Thursday, March 24th or Tuesday, March 29th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. This 2.5-hour workshop will cover 3 essentials: income planning, investment planning, and tax-efficient strategies. Call now to register at 314-328-6000. Again, 314-328-6000. If you have the slightest doubt about your retirement plan, or if you don't have a retirement plan, this workshop is designed for you. Seating is limited, so call now to register at 314-328-6000.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services but may not give tax advice. Firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk.
Home title theft. That's the identity fraud you really need to worry about. Why? Because home title theft is on the rise. It's devastating, and you can even get evicted from your home. Look, credit card and bank identity thefts are a nuisance. But if a thief gets your credit card, the card company handles it. And the same with your bank account. Your bank covers it. But when a cyber thief forges his name onto your home's title, he can take over your home and even have you evicted. That's why you should protect the legal title to your home with Home Title Lock, America's leader in home title protection. The instant they detect a foreign or domestic cyber thief tampering with your home's title, they mobilize their U.S.-based experts to help shut it down. Protect your most valuable asset. Go to gettitlelock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. And use promo code RADIO for 30 free days of protection. Again, that's gettitlelock.com. Promo code RADIO.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Biden's secret email.
A really fishy story.
The Post claimed that the emails were found on a laptop computer that was brought to a repair shop in Delaware in the spring of 2019.
The FBI is now investigating whether those alleged Hunter Biden emails are actually connected to a larger foreign intelligence operation.
They may be related to a foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence.
Foreign intelligence.
Foreign intelligence operation.
For all we know, these emails are made up.
The information found on the laptop may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Part of a Russian disinformation effort.
Described by many intelligence experts as having hallmarks, all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation.
Russian disinformation
campaign.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
No, this is a classic example of the corporate media machine, Mr. Stilger. My favorite part is where the journalist, Brian Stilger, says, for all we know, these are made up. Well, look into it, dummy. I mean, seriously, it's your job. It's your job to see what's there and decide whether or not it's worthy of talking about, based on whether it's true or not, based on not just political ramifications for the party you might support. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. 1227 right now. You can donate your car to Goodwill and get 2022 Cardinal tickets at mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals. I have been watching this Hunter Biden laptop story as long as you have. And now that the New York Times says that it's a real story, I guess we're going to talk about it again a little bit. But somebody who was on the ground and saw firsthand how this, not the story itself, but how the media and how social media, big tech handled this story had a dramatic effect on the outcome of the 2020 election. That's Hogan Gidley. And he joins us right now, the director for Center for Election Integrity, also the former National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. Hogan, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Great to have you here. I got to think in my mind that you're excited that this story is out, but you also probably feel like banging your head into a wall.
It's so infuriating because, these are things we knew were true at the time. They were easily verifiable, easily proven true or false, by the way. All these reporters had to do was go call their sources. I mean, it's not like they don't have them. You talked about it briefly in the introduction. Let's be clear here. For 3 years, they ran stories ad nauseum over and over again with quote unquote anonymous sources, with a background source, someone familiar with the situation, that Russia collusion was 100% true. Adam Schiff, other members of the Congress came out and said, we have stone cold evidence. We've seen the brief. We know it's true. All of it's untrue. All it's fake. They ran the entire story without serious verification from a source. When you actually look at this Hunter Biden story, they could have easily called all those anonymous sources at the DOJ or at the DOD, could have easily called their sourcing at the State Department. They refused to do it. The reason they refused to do it is because they did not want to be part of taking down a candidate for president who clearly was implicated by his own son of being in the room and being part of deals to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars that benefited the Biden family directly. They refused to cover it. In part, I do believe, because they felt guilty for exposing the fact that Hillary Clinton was under investigation as well. So they didn't want to do the same thing twice, of course, because doing their job, is not something they really want to do. They want to push that narrative forward. But when they sent that letter out of the top 50 intelligence agents who said this was all truthful, that wasn't truthful, that this was all Russian disinformation, not a single person on that letter said they'd seen the evidence. In fact, in the letter, it said the opposite. They'd not seen any of it. Then all of a sudden they just say, but our opinion is, of course, this is all Russian disinformation. I can't tell you how infuriating this is. And the one last thing I'll say about it, and I could talk about this forever, by the way. Remember at the time, we couldn't tweet about it.
Yeah.
We couldn't post on social media about it. We couldn't direct message about it. We had advertising, Annie, that we sent to these television stations. They refused to run it because they didn't want to hurt Joe Biden. And by the way, someone like Tony Bobolinsky, who put his name and reputation on the line by coming forward, not in the shadows, not anonymous, not background quotes, someone who came out and said, I was in the room, and his commentary, his statements put Joe Biden there too, talking about business deals with foreign powers, and the media just simply refused to cover it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, you want to use the word, collusion behind making sure that Joe Biden was safe going into that November election in 2020. And you compare it to the experience that the Trump campaign and administration had. There's so much lack of integrity in journalism today, and it is affecting the world on a global scale. I'm curious about, there's a lot of conversation that can certainly take place about who is responsible for the cover up. Why did they choose to cover it up like what you're talking about? But let's also get to, why is Hunter's laptop a big deal? What was in Hunter's laptop that he willfully gave over to get fixed at some, Mac Fix-It store and then turned over to the FBI? What was on that laptop that still should have the significant interest of the American people?
Well, remember, so much of it at the time, they focused on the sexual nature of the pictures that Hunter Biden had on his laptop. It wasn't just the drug use, with smoking crack on camera, being with several prostitutes, etc. It was, that right there could have been used as blackmail. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But also Hunter Biden had a reputation of profiteering and trading off of his parents' name. So when he would go to China, when he would go to get these deals from Ukraine, when he would get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow, all of these things were coordinated efforts to try and get money for the family. What was problematic was on the laptop, emails existed. There were text messages as well saying that he needed to hold 10% back for the big guy. He lamented the fact that his dad made him give him some of the money, that he had to be the one to go out there and get all this money for the family. He lamented being the breadwinner, for the Biden, folks over the course of several years. That was problematic because, then that put Biden squarely in the middle of that corruption, put Biden squarely in the middle as the subject of why these deals were done for Hunter and Burisma, why these deals were done with Hunter and China and with Russia. That's why it was problematic. That's why the press didn't want to cover it. It wasn't Hunter Biden. I mean, my goodness, how many presidents have had wayward brothers? Think of Bill Clinton and Roger. How many presidents have had difficult times with their children. There are a lot of presidents like that. Jimmy Carter won, several others in the past. I mean, as these children grow up in the White House, there are always problems. This was different because this directly said that Joe Biden was involved. That's why they didn't want to cover it.
Yeah. And when you think about the national security concerns that we would rightfully have, knowing the openness to bribery. I mean, I don't know that it's too difficult. I mean, they can't bribe them now that it's all out there on that laptop, but what isn't on the laptop? And then you look at the countries that are associated in large part in these conversations, Ukraine, Russia, China, among others. I mean, there's a lot of world news that's going on right now that this might have some important context to.
Right. And not to mention the fact, look, people said, oh, the New York Times finally acknowledged. They didn't acknowledge it. They just acknowledged the laptop exists. They didn't confirm any of it. It was said in passing in paragraph 24 of a story. So clearly, even now, still trying to suppress the information. I mean, look, they wouldn't cover it. They wouldn't let us talk about it. That's all an issue. But one more thing I want to bring up, I think is important. Remember, when there was a hint, a rumor that somehow, somewhere during the decade-plus long run of The Apprentice on NBC, that there was a tape that Donald Trump used the N-word somewhere in one of these tapes. They literally went wall to wall with it on these news outlets saying, we know it exists. We're going to find it. This is a real problem. And remember, that permeates down to his children because, you don't learn racism, you learn racism from your parents. And Donald Trump clearly is a racist. Follow that up. There were actual text messages from Hunter Biden on this laptop where he used the N-word repeatedly, and the media wouldn't cover that either. So the whole thing is just horrible. And when you look at the global problems we face today, what we're dealing with Ukraine, Russia, China, Iran, all these other nations that aren't friends of the United States by any stretch, you're starting to see this come full circle. All of a sudden, you're realizing, wait a minute, are there vested interests in the Biden family to deal with these countries in a certain way? When there was a thought that Donald Trump was going to have a Trump Tower in Moscow, remember that colored every decision he made. The media said it was because he wanted to profiteer for his family. Is anyone going to ask those questions about Burisma, the mayor of Moscow? Anyone going to talk about the billions Hunter received from China? Anyone going to have those conversations? I think it's literally something the media should be looking into, most certainly, because you can't tell me how many times Joe Biden answered the question saying, no, all the things against my son are false. No, none of it's true. You're telling me he didn't know one time that his son was under investigation, which, by the way, started in the Obama administration? Give me a break.
Right. That would be when he was the vice president of the United States. We're speaking with Hogan Gidley. You also served as the principal deputy secretary in the Trump administration. So you had a front seat to a lot of, especially being in the communications portion of this administration. I just can't get over how much the Trump administration was able to accomplish and how much the American people don't know about it. That the policies that the Trump administration, regardless of what you liked or didn't like about the way he tweeted and so on and so forth, but the actual policies of the Trump administration did so much good for this country. It prioritized the country and the people who own this country. And you look right now at the Biden administration and you see inflation, you see sky high prices everywhere you go. And all we ever hear from the Biden administration and their communications people, all they want to communicate to the American people is, you need to know who is to blame for this. There are no solutions that are offered. I'm just curious, as somebody who is in communications at the highest level, your reaction to what you knew then, how they covered it then, but also comparative to the disaster that is taking place right now and how they choose to communicate to the people.
Look, 93% negative news coverage against Donald Trump by metrics and data from different media outlets. Record-setting accomplishments and record-setting time. Remember, a large portion of the anger toward Donald Trump, I believe, is media manufactured because they were against him from day one. You have a press right now that largely covers for Joe Biden, props him up, buys his excuses, doesn't drill down on the real issues, goes along with the blame game. So the fact that Joe Biden is underwater with voters, with people who've been polled in these various metrics lately, tells me they're really angry. It's not media manufactured. It's the real deal. Remember, inflation, for example, that first wasn't happening according to the administration. Then it was happening, but it was transitory. Then they said, oh, by the way, a little bit of it's a good thing. Of course it's a good thing. Then they blamed it on the supply chain crisis. Then they blamed it on COVID. Now they're blaming it on Putin. How many times did Joe Biden on the campaign say the buck stops with the president, Donald Trump, it's my responsibility, I'll fix everything. And now that he's involved and everything's gone to hell in a handbasket, the American people are feeling the brunt of these bad policies. He's looking around trying to blame somebody. But thankfully, I do think the American people understand and feel it, because the juxtaposition was so jarring of where we were and then how everything was turned around so quickly and people started suffering. I don't think Biden can get away with it this time, trying to blame somebody else for his mistakes.
Yep. We know. We all know. We can all see it with our own eyes. And if you don't tune into the media to listen to their version of the reality that exists right now, and you're going to put gas in your tank so you can go to a job that's taxed high and is requiring you to, do things that you didn't have to do before because the administration is mandating it, so on and so forth. It's one thing after the other, and the American people absolutely know. Hogan Gidley, it is always a pleasure to speak with you. This Hunter Biden story, in my opinion, is not going away, and we look forward to talking to you about it again soon.
Can't wait. Thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it.
Yep, you as well. The director for Center for Election Integrity with the America First Policy Institute, Hogan Gidley, right there, and also served as the national press secretary for the Trump campaign and the principal deputy press secretary for the Trump administration. Always good to have him on the show here, and we look forward to doing it again. Wiggins America coming up next. Speaking of the Trump administration, he's made a comment about who he may or may not choose as a running mate if he were to run again. I guess he hasn't said he's going to run again, but whose name has he thrown out there? And what has he said about him? Well, Wiggins America is going to report on that for us in just a minute. Don't go away.
I've been down on
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
The voice so sweet, I thought I heard the shuffle of angels' feet. He called my name and my heart stood still. When he said, John, go do my will. Go tell that long-tongued liar.
The Mark Linden Show.
Frank Cusimano right now from KSTK.
Jack Flaherty. It's going to start the season on the injured list with what the team is calling is a small tear in his right shoulder.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Wealth-changing question. Is your investment portfolio really customized? Some advisors say they customize portfolios, but all they really do is ask you a few questions, then put all your money in a model portfolio. At Creative Planning, each of our private wealth management clients' portfolios is unique. Your investment mix will be based on your custom financial plan. If that's not how your money is managed, you aren't getting the customization you deserve. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/hire. ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Up-to-the-minute traffic reports, so you don't have to keep looking at your phone. Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
Just give me the light. Just give me the light. Just give me the light. Yo, yo. Just give me the light and pass the Joe. What's another buckle of more? Yeah, let me know my sides and I got to know which one is gonna get.
So Donald Trump has essentially ruled out that Mike Pence would be his vice presidential running mate if he were to run for president again in 2024. And this is not particularly surprising given the last 14 months of the things that Donald Trump has said about Mike Pence, but it does make 2024 significantly more interesting. A president running again after losing re-election with a different running mate is interesting. And this we have learned thanks to an interview that Donald Trump gave to the Washington Examiner earlier this week.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins!
All right.
Hello there, and good week, good beginning of the week to you. So the quote that is getting all the attention is this, quote, "I don't think the people would accept," unquote. And he was talking about Pence being the vice presidential nominee if he were to run again. Does anybody in the room think that he's not going to run again? Are we pretty sure that that's?
I don't think it's.
You don't think it's for sure?
I don't think it's any more certain than it's uncertain.
Really?
Yeah.
He's not going to run if he doesn't know he can win. He can't run and lose again.
That's very true. That's got to consider. But I wonder if he thinks for sure that there's no doubt that he would run. The question is, who's going to be running against him if he does? Because I don't know that it's Biden or Harris at this point.
I don't know that would be my question, because if Trump is running for office, it doesn't matter who he runs against. That's the problem. Everybody's going to show up to vote for him or against him.
Mm-hmm. I just think
that's not the way it's going to work if it's a Mike Pence running for president or Ron DeSantis running for president or Chris Christie or whomever it might be. That will be like, well, who's this guy and what's he stand for to an extent? And oh my gosh, these last 4 years have been a freaking disaster. If Trump runs, then everybody pretty much knows how they fall on that right now.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's Biden or Harris, it seems like you'd have a better ability to run on, look at the last 4 years, than if it's somebody else. Therefore, Trump would have a better time running against whoever that is.
You cannot have a president who has a 35% approval rating or a vice president who is even lower run for re-election.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it'd be either one of them. But I also don't know who it would be either, because there's nobody else really being discussed. It's pretty early, but
the Democrats can't discuss that.
Right now. But behind the scenes, you'd think, well, maybe you'd hear something. I haven't heard a thing other than maybe Pete Buttigieg, he doesn't poll better either.
Well, Hillary's been in the public eye a little bit more.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think she believes she can win.
Do you think, though, that she is trying
She believes that her election was stolen and that she did win. So
there you go.
Well, we'd have two people running against each other who thought they were
talking about Hillary. YouTube, leave me alone.
Well, but I think Hillary honestly has been in the public eye, and maybe she is trying to put herself out there to see if she'd run again. But I think the reason she's doing that right now is because of the Durham investigation. So I think she's trying to get out ahead of it and flex her muscles and say, no, I'm still powerful, to everybody around her, to say, look, I can still get things done in case this thing goes south for her quickly.
I just think she wants to be president.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking too deep.
I mean,
too deep about
like
this.
her
I think
very
she's afraid.
her very first foray back into the public eye was reading that letter. What was it, to her mom?
To her mother.
About how she thought she was going to win, then she didn't win, and she cried.
She says to her mom, "It's going to be okay. I'm going to be president," and then she cries because she's not. I could have summed it up.
So, if Trump is going to run again, do you have any preference on who he picks for vice president?
Nope, because it doesn't matter. It's Trump.
It's all Trump.
If Trump's in the picture, it's all Trump. Nothing else matters.
I have preferences on who it shouldn't be. I don't want it to be Ron DeSantis
As a vice president?
Right.
Samesies.
I don't want it to be any of these prominent up and coming Republicans, because then you just get overshadowed.
Too
and linked
yoked
to
by
Trump.
yeah.
You just get some, forgive the term, milquetoast, run of the mill, non-offensive, palatable Republican to run, probably a girl, and that would be his VP pick.
So a whole lot of people.
Did you say a girl?
A girl.
Yeah.
He said a girl. he used the term girl instead of the one we were using last week.
Girl, what were you saying last
We
week?
were saying bleeder.
That's if you're the
That's-
vice president for the left.
That's right. You can't say that word. I feel bad saying that. I don't even want to say it. Even it was like a whole
You
subject.
did kind of swallow that word.
I won't ever use a word like that.
Well, that's
Listen,
the
I'm
PC
not using
term.
the word either. I was
We were
talking about,
yeah.
for the record, folks, I was talking about a story and how ridiculous it is to suggest that you would boil down what it means to be feminine to what you do monthly.
And I greatly appreciate you falling on that sword, so that that's something that I wouldn't have to do.
I said that about that, and also about the Leah Thomas swimming stuff, that if I'm not going to speak up on this stuff as a woman, and yes, like a traditional woman, what am I going to say? Whatever I say now is offensive, but I'm a woman, and you cannot take that away from me. I have to do it. If I don't do it, who's going to? Men? Seriously, men should speak up about it. Men should speak up on this issue. You have mothers, sisters, daughters, grandmas, so on and so forth, nieces. Do it for them, but women should lead on that.
Brad, did you say just now, which kicked off that whole conversation, that you think it should be a girl?
Yes.
But isn't that what?
Can we at least say woman?
Can we say woman?
Yes.
Or we'll mix it.
Isn't that kind of what we're blasting Biden for doing, though? Is saying, well, I'm just going to check off a box.
No, I'm saying I think that it will be.
Oh, okay. Regardless.
So yeah, I think it would be a savvy political move to do it, but I don't think that he should come out and be like, I'm going to run, and then my vice president is going to be a woman. I think that's dumb. But if you find somebody that is not an up-and-comer, so like, again, you wouldn't want to use like a...
Kristi Noem.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to use her because that would be a waste.
No, I would use her.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay, well then use Kristi Noem.
What about Tulsi?
No.
She's not a Republican.
I agree.
She's not a
That's why I'm asking the
conservative.
question.
But
But there are a lot of people who are asking that question.
No, they're not.
Because she's a Democrat.
They're not Republicans.
I know there are people who are right of me, which is tough to do, who are like all in for Tulsi for VP. And I don't get it.
I would like to go policy by policy
I
with the
would
people
too.
who are right of you, who think that Tulsi Gabbard would be a great choice of all of the people. Like that is insulting to people like Kristi Noem. Or good grief, put Sarah Palin back in there for all intents and purposes if you need to have a woman in there. But all of the people who are available to serve in that spot to suggest that Tulsi Gabbard should do it, she speaks common sense. I could see her having a smart, well-targeted position in a cabinet moving forward. But to suggest that somehow or another Tulsi Gabbard is an exemplary version of conservatism is not an educated opinion.
It's insane.
Yes.
I'm going to throw a name out there that I don't know how familiar everybody is with, but yet.
Bill Clinton.
William Clinton was what I was going to say.
Jefferson or
William J. Clinton.
Joe.
Carrie Lake. Do you know that name?
She's so these are all such polarizing people.
I know.
Maybe for Trump, but she's running for governor for Arizona. And like, if she doesn't win, which I don't know that she's going to win, if she doesn't win, she's going to cease to be on people's radar 2 years after she lost an election that is taking place during a midterm. I mean, this is just it's frustrating to me because whenever the Trump conversation comes up, and I'll say this because it's required fodder for me to say this, but if Donald Trump runs against anybody who's a Democrat, I'm absolutely confidently voting for Donald Trump. So in a primary, you still get the choice, and the Republican Party still needs to make smart decisions. But Carrie Lake is in the Trump bubble. And if Trump is not in that race, or if the race becomes all about Trump again, we are wasting an opportunity. And honestly, for me, I've listened to some of his speeches and some of his rallies. He's saying the same crap over and over and over again, which is about him. It's not about the country. He has, in my opinion, the greatest opportunity to continue to transform the United States back to its traditional constitutional roots. He did an amazing job in his first 4 years when it comes to policy. I just said that with Hogan Gidley, who worked in the Trump administration, high up in the Trump administration. He's the guy, but he cannot get out of his own way. And if he can't get out of his own way, he's in America's way. And if he wants to continue to push the America First initiative that he rightfully put front and center in his administration, he needs to put America first, not Trump first. And until the moment that I see that he has done that, and I don't want to say learn that lesson because I feel like he knows. I feel like he's making an educated choice and it's the wrong one. Until he starts putting America first, I'm going to consider my options. If he comes out and gets that focus, right, I'm all in. And this is coming from somebody who he was like my choice 16 of 16 or 17 of 17 people in the primary in 2016. I don't detest him as a human being. He's a broken man. I'm a broken woman. That's just the way sinners are. He's done great for the country, but if he wants to continue to do that, he has got to put America first. And it's weird to say that about the guy who created that.
I'll say this based on what your criticism is right now. What I would like to see, and maybe he starts doing this in November, December of 2022 after the midterms. Maybe it's all planned. That right now he is looking backwards and saying, well, we wouldn't be in this war. We wouldn't be in this financial situation.
It's not helpful.
What I would like to see is him say, okay, now going forward, here's how you solve these things. Because whether it's him in the office or somebody else, he's got a huge platform where they haven't taken it away from him to be able to say, here are the solutions now, because he had them back then. He had them while president.
Everything that you said before him saying this is what he should say going forward, everything he's saying about the past, everybody knows that already. The Biden administration is the biggest I told you so in history when it comes to presidential campaigns and politics. Everybody knows that. And anybody who's paying attention to anything that Donald Trump says right now, they have to seek it out. It is not easy to find that information. Anybody who's seeking that out needs to see somebody who's giving a pathway forward, not a get off my lawn, look back, because we're all as mad as he is.
Yeah.
We know how much this sucks. We're living in the same country under the same crap administration policies that have been put in place that have put us in this position. He doesn't need to tell us that. He needs to tell us why we should choose him again, because it is a choice.
Yeah. Here's how we would fix inflation. Here's how we'd fix the war.
This whole segment was to tell you that he said he wasn't going to choose Pence for his VP. So that's not happening. And I'm sure we're all shocked by that. Stephen Moore and Dakota Wood in the next hour. Don't go away.
At Neovitin, our goal is to create safe, dependable multivitamins to support your everyday nutrition when you need it most. That's why Dr. Ribicki formulated Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin with 20 daily ingredients, including B vitamins for energy support, vitamin C for immune support, and our 4-ingredient proprietary blend that you won't find in any other multivitamin. With a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot, you can be sure you are getting the highest quality nutritional support with Neovitin. And as always, a portion of the proceeds from the sale of Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin are donated to the Ribicki Foundation to support pancreatic cancer research. That's nutritional support you can feel good about. Support your best life today with Neovitin Original Formula Multivitamin, available at your local Dierbergs, Schnucks, select independent pharmacies, and online with our easy-to-use monthly subscription at neovitin.com. That's neovitin.com, neovitin.com.
Yachty and Waino are back for another season in their legendary careers. On Saturday, April 9th, celebrate their long-standing battery with one of 4 mystery jerseys. That day, the Cardinals host the Pirates, and 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a mystery jersey featuring either Yadier Molina or Adam Wainwright, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Walmart. Which one will you get? Find out on Saturday, April 9th. For tickets, visit Cardinals.com.
2021 marked the 50th and final season of Mike Shannon's legendary career in the broadcast booth. Sunday, April 10th, when the Cardinals host the Pirates, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home a one-of-a-kind Mike Shannon bobblehead. Kick off the 2022 season and honor the longtime voice of the Cardinals with this commemorative bobblehead thanks to Phillips 66. That's Sunday, April 10th, the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Shannon bobblehead. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com.
Nobody wants to miss the important things in life, and if it's because of bad vision, you don't have to. Mark Cox here from my friends at Brenton Vision. They can help you out. That's why I want you to take 2 minutes today to call my friends at Brenton at 314-375-2020 or go online to BrentonVision.com. Your eyes are as unique as your fingerprint. Since Brenton Vision is the only place in Missouri offering all 7 forms of modern vision correction, they can create a customized treatment plan just for your vision. They helped my wife out. She chose the lens replacement therapy and now sees better than ever, and she loves it. You can have that same experience with Brenton Vision. They accept flex plans and medical spending plans as well at Brenton. So don't let that money expire or go to waste. See your best. Do what we did. Call Brenton Vision at 314-375-2020 or schedule online right now at BrentonVision.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
Fighting block by block. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Grim reports from the besieged Ukrainian city of Mariupol, but Ukrainian officials are vowing no surrender. President Biden, who has a NATO meeting later this week, is still facing pressure from some in Congress to do more. Wisconsin Republican Congressman Mike Gallagher.
While we should be wary of escalation, we cannot allow the continual fear of escalation to dominate our thinking. I think that's why we got into this mess in the first place, because of the continual fear of provoking Putin.
For the second time in less than a week, a Russian attack on a public building where residents were believed to have taken shelter in Mariupol. Ukraine's president says an art school was hit after last week's bombing of a theater. Facebook and Instagram are banned from doing business in Russia. A court in Moscow granting a request from prosecutors to outlaw their parent company, Meta, for what it calls extremist activities, including failing to remove posts deemed fake news about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. But officials do not intend to punish individual Russians who use the platforms. Critics of President Biden's Supreme Court nominee say they'll focus on her record. The first day of hearings underway. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson will face questions from the Senate Judiciary Committee beginning tomorrow. Among those, Republican Josh Hawley says will be about why, as a trial judge, Jackson handed out sentences in child pornography cases below federal recommendations.
She hasn't had the chance yet to respond to this, and she deserves that chance.
Committee Chairman, Democrat Dick Durbin, says a soft on crime label is unfair and the charges out of context.
I'm confident the American people will see through these attacks and any other last-minute attempts to derail your confirmation.
Durbin has also praised Jackson's selection as the first Black woman nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court. Lisa.
Thanks, Jared. Just getting word that the longest-serving House Republican ever, Alaska Congressman Don Young, who died Friday, will lie in state at the Capitol next Tuesday. America's listening to Fox News.
Your goals, your future, your dreams. These things are none of our business. Your symptoms, your work from home sweatpants, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m. That's really none of our business, because your life is private. And unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, who's that from? That's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect opportunity for a significant business upgrade. Save up to 45% on Dell computers with Windows 11 Pro and get an easy start to your workday. Plus, enjoy special pricing on Dell docks, monitors, servers, and more, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today to find the right tech for your business with fast, free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Breezy and warm on this Monday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Let's top out right around 76 degrees. Tonight, clouds and showers. Could be a spot thunderstorm, but nothing severe. Windy and 50. Tuesday, windy, slightly cooler. A couple of showers, but no all-day rain. 62 degrees. Wednesday, periods of rain. High temperatures Wednesday, only in the 40s. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Discussion happens here.
Nobody thought that Kyiv could have held on. This is truly extraordinary.
Only one major city has been lost. It's Kherson,
where St. Louis comes to talk.
The Russians are running out of food. They're running out of ammo. They're running out of equipment.
I think we have seen a lot of evidence of supply line issues, of morale issues, of inability to be able to take these population centers. They're stymied and stalemated.
97.1 FM Talk.
If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear from home title thieves. But if you own a home and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud, one of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know U.S. home values are sky high, and they paint a target on us. The crime is scary simple. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. Now he's on the deed to your home, and you have no idea you're a victim. Then he takes out loans on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier around your home's title. The instant they detect tampering, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, guard it with your life. Go to gettitlelock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim. And enter radio for 30 days of free protection. That's code radio at gettitlelock.com.
Hi, this is Curtis Barks. I am the owner of Complete Auto Body and Repair, here to tell you about our touchless automotive service. If you're experiencing the constant struggles of having the kids home from school or just want more of that family time where you can listen to them teach you about what they do every day, we provide touchless automotive service, return the vehicle to you clean and ready to go in the comfort of your own home. Check us out online at CompleteAB.com for more information. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the cars.
If your business has accounting problems, you probably have tax problems. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Running a small business is tough, and it's no surprise that companies that don't keep good books often run into tax issues. If you don't fix your accounting problems, you could be doomed to land in the same tax pitfalls every year. Call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. I can help you get out of tax trouble and stay out. If your small business doesn't have a CPA or accountant, I can help you find one. And if you already have one, I work closely with them to resolve your tax problems quickly. Make no mistake, if the numbers don't add up, the IRS will catch it. Fix your accounting and tax problems before they snowball with help from the Lance Drury Law Firm. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Odyssey is your home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today to listen to 97.1 FM Talk, even when you don't have a radio. Always streaming at 971talk.com. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by The Loading Dock, Riverviews, outdoor dining, live music, and overnight accommodations. Visit GraftonLoadingDock.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Joe Biden can't hide from the fact that he is the president of high gas prices, and they're looking for anyone to blame
whether it's Putin, whether it's Republicans, whether it's the energy companies, whether it's COVID, the Democrats have a very big problem with 40-year high inflation, highest gas prices ever. When Joe Biden came into office, it was $2.38 a gallon for gasoline. American families paid $1,000 more, George, for energy last year than the year before. And on polling last week, 70% of Americans say more American oil and gas and less emphasis on climate.
Yeah, the American people know why these prices are rising and rising. Everywhere you turn around, everything costs more, and people are starting to adjust the way they live their lifestyle because of it. And they do look at the administration right now and say, what are you going to do about it? Granted, we're seeing people like this Bloomberg opinion tweet. They came out and tweeted, nobody said this would be fun. Well, yeah, who thought that inflation would be fun? You know who doesn't? Stephen Moore with the Freedom Works, senior economic contributor there and our go-to expert when it comes to anything economy. Stephen, welcome back to the show. They're putting out there in tweets now a reminder, okay, this is going to hurt a little bit. What do you think about that?
Well, it's hurting a lot.
Yeah.
Not just a little bit. I mean, we're seeing, as you just heard, that gas prices in many parts of the country that are $5 a gallon now. 80% of the increase in the gas price happened before Putin went into Russia. So this is something most people know has been happening. Basically, it's the day that Joe Biden was inaugurated as president. They keep making excuses for why things are going wrong. This is not exactly Harry Truman who said the buck stops here. Every problem Biden points to someone else. So I think Americans, I would say every day that Biden is president, people miss Donald Trump more.
Yeah, they can make the connection between the two things. The American people are much smarter than often the politicians give them credit for. I'm curious what you're seeing the president. What is President Biden saying he's doing to help the American people, and is it translating?
Well, don't you understand that they're going to, according to Buttigieg, we're all going to be driving around in electric vehicles, and we don't have to worry about the gas price. I mean, that's how out of touch these people in Washington are, that they actually think, we're going to go from 3% of Americans having electric cars to, 100% in, 5 or 10 or 15 years. Even Elon Musk, by the way, who's, the biggest promoter of and producer of electric vehicles, says we're going to need it. Joe, we're still going to need gasoline for the next 15 or 20 years at least, probably for the next 50 years. So this energy strategy makes no sense. What is really, I think, outrageous about it is that every time we continue to buy this Russian oil, we're only helping fund the Russian military machine. And that's heartbreaking, actually.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point because everyone's worried about how much it's going to cost them to fill up at the gas tank or to go to the grocery store and buy those weekly necessities. But it's a much broader consequence that this administration's energy policy has had on the global scale. And we're seeing it in full force. A lot of what Russia has been able to do in the last month or so has been based on their ability to export oil, not just to the United States, but to other places, because the United States really pulled back on what they do.
I mean, I can't say it better than you just did. You're exactly right. And this was very predictable that this was going to happen. We should be at about, given the fact that the price of oil is now $110 a barrel, it went up again today, then we should be producing about 15 million barrels a day. We have the capacity to produce at least 20 million barrels a day, and we're at 10.5 million. And Biden keeps saying, "Oh, well, we're allowing the oil companies to drill." No, they're not. They've erected every possible barrier. Remember.
I think we just lost him there. Hannah, when Hannah got him connected on the phone, said he's in the mountains right now and the connection might not continue. So we'll see if we can get reconnected with him. But regardless, you could go vote right now on the Annie Frey YouTube poll. If you go to the chat feature on our live stream right now, you can tell us if you have you altered your driving habits due to the price of gas? And you can let us know on the comments how you have. Right now, it looks like it's 60% no, people haven't, but 40% have, and that's 53 votes in so far. I guess that I would say that I think about it more. I don't know that I've actively that I've actively participated in saying, no, we're not going to do that. The gas is too terribly high, but it's on my mind. It's on my conscience. I hate driving when it comes to shuttling kids around and so on and so forth. I hate having two cars in one place, but sometimes having two cars in one place is one less trip in a specific destination. So maybe you just do what you do. I continue to say, and Brad, I don't know if I've missed it, if you've heard it, but when the Biden administration comes out, and they talk about how to fix some of these problems, it's only doubling down on policies they had before there was this type of a crisis.
Yeah. Their policies tend to be it's like, well, gas prices are really high. What are you guys going to do about it? And they're like, well, we're going to do everything in our power. So they say we're going to do everything in our power. And then everything in our power seems to be, we're going to encourage people to switch to green energy. So what you should do if you can't pay the price at the pump is to buy an electric vehicle, which are not cheap. That's not a good short-term solution. Yeah, that's what the goal is down the line, right? But it's like Stephen Moore was saying, you can't really do that right away. And we're still going to need fuel for 10 to 15 more years. There are people even we looked it up. What was it? A used Tesla was like $90,000, $50,000 to $90,000. And there's people out there that can't afford that. Just simply cannot afford that.
Average middle class people who are out there who cannot afford that.
Right.
I mean, it's not even like we're talking about the impoverished people. That's not something that's realistic. And I saw, was it on this station that I heard it, or was I watching Fox? They blur together in the morning for me. But was saying that there was a Tesla owner who said he'd happily pay $6 a gallon for gas in that moment because the lines are getting so long at the charging stations that exist in wherever they exist, that I just saw a Casey's in Collinsville this past weekend. It was Friday. I didn't know this, but they had 4 or 5 charging stations at Casey's in Collinsville.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long they've been there. Maybe they've been there for a long time and I just have missed it. But there were at least 2 cars charging at that one time. And so it's I wonder, because you could see the people sitting in their car.
Mm-hmm.
They were looking on their phones and stuff. I sit in my car when I pump gas, but that's a literal, minute and a half of pumping? How long does it take to fill? 2 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be depending on the size of your tank, you're going to be there 2-3 minutes tops.
18 gallons is, I think, mine might be bigger. I usually put in 18 is what I usually put in, but I also drive it. I know I'm supposed to fill up at a quarter tank. When I ran out of gas downtown last year, everybody reminded me, you shouldn't want to go behind a quarter tank. And I'm like, okay. Well, I got to buy my gas in Missouri. So sometimes it gets below a quarter tank. But I just kind of it took me aback a little bit to see, I think there were 2 or 3 cars sitting at 5 or 6 charging stations at that Casey's thing. And I had never seen that before. So I Googled it. How long does it take to charge? If you have the supercharged Tesla, that both of the ones that I saw were Teslas. If you have the supercharged, which definitely bumps up the cost of that vehicle, it still takes 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, if I've got to get from point A to B, 15 minutes that's a serious amount of time to budget into what you got to do. Not to mention the fact it only takes you 200 miles.
Right.
So that's a much more frequent. I mean, I probably get 350 miles to the tank right now. It's pretty decent.
Yeah. That's about average.
So 200 miles, that means I'm filling up, not twice as much, but 50% more. And it's going to take me 15 minutes to sit there every time. And that's if I can drive in, park, and plug in.
Mm-hmm. And if there's 3 cars in front of you, you're waiting 45 minutes.
Or you're going to the next station, which doesn't necessarily exist because the biggest problem is that there's not enough infrastructure behind the majority of the population, or a growing majority of the population, having access to those.
And that's kind of I don't have anything personal. You can drive a Tesla and have a lot of fun in it. It's a fun car to drive. It's a cool
First time I was in a Tesla was in January when we were in Florida. We Ubered back to the airport and we rode in a Tesla.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
But
it was neat. It was weird.
Right. But my big, so I don't have any problem with us transferring over to EVs and all that other stuff. But like you were saying, our infrastructure isn't ready. We're not ready yet.
I was told, I was speaking to somebody in the car industry, and they said that a neighborhood that had been built in that town had put into the houses charging stations, and that if 2 people in the neighborhood plugged in at the same time, he said they didn't have blackouts, but they had brownouts.
Wow.
2 in a neighborhood?
That's bad.
No bueno.
Yeah.
Like you could that's not sustainable. And that gets in that even take it even further. I shared this on the Annie Frey Show Facebook page last week sometime, but it was a scientist on TikTok, and the way I consume TikTok is when people upload TikTok videos to Twitter and Facebook, which is also how I use Snapchat. Hey, let's use the filters. That's a cute picture. I'll share it on Facebook for the old people like myself, not for the youngins. And she was talking about the necessity of lithium in the batteries that are used to charge used to power all of these different things. Well, I know this, but it was put in a way that I haven't forgotten it. That a battery is not a power source. It's a power container.
It's like your fuel tank.
It is something that holds power, but it doesn't create power. It takes power from somewhere else and it puts it in this box and then it hands it off to something else. But it's not a power source. And the lithium that is needed to make these batteries do what they do is a limited resource. And we cannot accommodate right now mining. Like, if you want to talk about all the extra mining that we would have to do, it's just a domino effect of good idea and principle. We're not there yet. And to virtue signal to everybody in a campaign about all of the oil production that you're going to shut down when our country is powered on this, when the world is powered on this, and you're going to virtue signal your way into saying we're not going to do the Keystone Pipeline day one. I mean, President Biden's administration's top priority was shutting this down in the United States. We are not ready for it, but he gives the thumbs up for the Russia pipeline to exist. And that empowers Russia, and it takes Europe and puts Europe and places like Germany at the behest of Russia for their energy. I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure this out. Like, if this is so basic that I'm smart enough to figure it out, or maybe I'm too stupid to understand why I'm wrong. It could be either way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, what was the phrase that I heard the other day? It said, don't attribute to malice that can be explained with incompetence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you look at it and you're going, am I missing something here? Probably not. They're probably just that incompetent whenever they think about this. I have this theory, and I don't know if this is crazy or not, but people don't look far enough down the road. They look at the next step instead of down the road to see what the cost would be, or out and around to see what the ramifications would be.
They want instant satisfaction and gratification.
And so they what we need to do is we need to get off fossil fuels. So all they're thinking about is getting off fossil fuels. The best option that they see is electric vehicles. So they jump off of fossil fuels onto electric vehicles, and the ramifications and the consequences of changing everything and redoing our infrastructure and all that other stuff is just completely lost on them. Then they get in there and they're going, oh, how did we get here? It's the same way with the pipelines. It's like, we need to shut this down because this is bad. And then they shut it down, and then they didn't look down the road, and they're like, oh, and we can do that one over there because that's okay.
They look down the road far enough to the election.
Right.
I mean, that they know what they're doing. And they say, what do we need to do to win this election? They do it. And then they'll figure out the rest later. Morford on Facebook says, I'm going to give you more information about the cases in Collinsville. Right next to the charging stations, there's a fenced-in area with a diesel generator. Check that out for myself.
That's fantastic.
What do I know? Here's what I know. What we're doing now is not working. That's what I know. Let's listen. I'm going to play here real quick because in the next segment here, we've got one of our favorite guests coming back on. Here's General Keith Kellogg talking about Ukraine.
You start talking about nuclear weapons or chemical or biological, that's when you take a really deep breath.
Yeah.
Because you've now crossed a threshold. They've got their philosophy, their military philosophy is escalate to de-escalate. And they actually consider using sub-kiloton nuclear weapons. They've got them in their inventory. Years ago, we had them in our inventory. We had a system called the Davy Crockett in the 60s. And the reason we got rid of it, our preference was we didn't want a sergeant to start World War III. But they've got them, and they intend to use them. And my fear or concern is that he may cross that line. And what he may do is what's called a demonstration. And what you do is you use this device, a sub-kiloton weapon, and you put it in the middle of a field somewhere, in the middle of the water somewhere, to say, hey, I've got these weapons and I'm willing to use it.
General Keith Kellogg there talking about Vladimir Putin and his capabilities and his willingness to use them or show the world what it is that he can do. We're going to ask Dakota Wood about that when we come back. Is it just about Ukraine anymore? Because that type of an effort makes me feel like Putin's efforts aren't just targeted towards Ukraine. We'll talk to our friend and expert, senior research fellow for defense programs at the Heritage Foundation, Dakota Wood, in a minute. It is 1:23 right now. You can donate your car to Goodwill and get 2022 Cardinal tickets at mersgoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals. Don't go away. Lots more in just a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. Here's 97.1 insider Hans von Spakovsky.
They would push through bad bills that would actually destroy the economy of this country and our general standard of living.
Where St. Louis comes to talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
So Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group has invited me and Mark Cox and Mark Reardon and the Grimmer crazy person to me. You should reorder those and put me at the end. I'm sorry that I didn't do that. Mark Cox, Mark Reardon, and myself to come meet you at the Protecting Your Retirement educational event tomorrow, March 22nd at 6:30 p.m. at the Frontenac Hilton. And when you go visit this really, really easy to attend event, which is free, I might add, and yes, there are snacks, you're going to get to hear how he has helped so many other 97.1 listeners and Annie Frey Show listeners secure their retirement and live going into it and through it in a worry-free way. That's really almost a priceless, I will say it's a priceless thing. Worry is something that plagues all of us. I know that I deal with worry. And when it comes to retirement being right around the corner for yourself, you want to make sure that your hard work is paid off and that it is protected. This event tomorrow, March 22nd, Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. at the Frontenac Hilton. You do need to reserve your space. And I'll be there, and the gentleman will probably be there around 6 o'clock. So show up early so that we can meet you. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. You can register online at retirementkey.com.
You say tomato and I say tomato. Everyone is different. We have different fingerprints, different jobs, different homes, different personalities. We speak differently, think differently, spend differently, and save differently. Why wouldn't our dreams for retirement be different? At Heisey Advisory Group, we help our families put together the many pieces of the financial puzzle to provide a clear plan for the future, embracing the uniqueness of an individualized plan. Take advantage of scheduling your initial strategy session and going through our retirement roadmap review process to see if your retirement dream is within reach. Call 314-328-6000 and schedule your complimentary retirement roadmap review with our team. That's 314-328-6000. Again, that's 314-328-6000.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Research shows people remember radio ads that remind them of the past. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's an ad that'll really take you back.
Back in my day, I heard a voice from the radio say, Liberty Mutual customizes my home insurance so I only pay for what I need. I'm getting on in years now, but heavens to Betsy, there are some things an old fella like me just never forgets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Is your current home loan the right fit for you? Near historically low rates combined with rising home values means that you could have more home equity than you might imagine. And if you're considering a refi, an expertly chosen loan from Loan Depot could save you thousands. Ask about our smart term loans, cash out, and over 300 loan options to find just the right mortgage loan for you. Call now, 866-888-LOAN, or go to loandepot.com. Loan Depot, where home means everything. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great!
Because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
What you're also seeing with the use of the hypersonic weapon is likely a demonstration by Putin to the West. He didn't need this weapon for what he's doing in Ukraine. He didn't need this for the target. It was clearly a message to the West to show that he has these weapons. But, you know, what we're seeing, I think the biggest impression that people should have, that the president should have, is this is a ruthless regime that's killing innocent people. You know, last night here, the Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra opened its performance with the Ukraine national anthem and our national anthem back to back. The entire audience, including the orchestra, stood. The American public get what President Zelensky has said, is that this is about democracy. This is about freedom, as he called President Biden to lead.
So there you have Representative Mike Turner from Ohio talking about the usage of hypersonic missiles. And as the weeks progress here, we see Vladimir Putin's willingness to use things, try things, and his disregard for civilian life in this conflict becomes more and more concerning. And our go-to daily guest or weekly guest has been Dakota Wood here to talk about what this means for folks that, like myself, that even I can understand. Dakota Wood joins us right now. He is the Senior Research Fellow for Defense Programs at the Heritage Foundation. Dakota, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here.
Hey, thanks. You're by no means a common person. You're a great analyst in your own right. So
well, I appreciate
I wish
that.
we were talking about more pleasant stuff. But this hypersonic weapon that was used, I haven't seen or heard independent confirmation from the intel community, the military, that that's actually the case. Russia is saying that's what they fired, but these things, a hypersonic going 7, 8, 10 miles or times the speed of sound, is something that would be more easily picked up by the kinds of sensors we have, and we just haven't received independent confirmation that was the case. But it's almost irrelevant in that what it does show is Russia is firing missiles from the Black Sea and from the mainland land territory of Russia, so 1,000-mile missile shots. And they do this, one, as the representative said, to send a message, a signal. If it's a nuclear-capable missile, then it carries with it that nuclear threat, nuclear saber rattling. But it also is an opportunity for Russia to test out new weapons in an actual combat environment. A lot of countries do that. They take advantage of these very unfortunate, damaging sorts of crises. So all of that to say that Russia is serious about this, and we just can't underestimate or dismiss the threat that Russia poses to the West.
Dakota Wood with us right now, our expert from Heritage Foundation on these issues. I'm curious if the question I asked going into the last break was, is this still about Ukraine for Vladimir Putin, or is it bigger than that?
It's bigger than that. I mean, it's all the above, right? He views a grand czarist Russian empire trying to reprise that. And so from that view, Ukraine isn't a country. It's merely territory that was once owned by Russia and should be owned once again by Russia. So it's a territorial expansion, the greatness of a 19th century Russia. So that's one aspect of it. But he has always been ticked off about NATO, what NATO represents, what modern democratic, representative democracies, what that represents when you compare it to an authoritarian regime, as he rules over Russia. So he's angry about that. He's angry about the Russian economy. And the only thing they have to sell is bad caviar and lots of energy. And so it's a poking in the eye and threatening sort of thing by Russia on the grander European, Eurasia sorts of stage. And it's more of an ego drive, too. He wants to be seen on the same stage as Xi Jinping in China and whoever the U.S. president is, irrespective of administration in the United States. He wants to be one of those major global players.
I'm reading a comment here from the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, who said yesterday that Putin's campaign in Ukraine is stalled, and also said that Moscow's strategy is feeding their own troops into a wood chipper. I mean, let's talk for a second about what Vladimir Putin is willing to do to his own countrymen based on these whims that he has.
Right. So again, it's ego, it's aspirations, it's grandiosity, and he'll spend anything needed to achieve that. He's 70 years old. He wants to have some kind of enduring legacy that puts him on the top tier of Russian or Soviet leaders, throughout the ages. You get isolated when you're probably the world's richest man with all this hidden wealth that he has. You're an autocrat, authoritarian, an egomaniac. Why isn't the country yours to use to feed that, right? All that stuff. So sending in, conscripts, the forces are getting chewed up by the just heroic efforts of the Ukrainian fighters. Half of the Russian population, lives in poverty, and all that stuff doesn't seem to matter, right? Mm-hmm. So again, it's not Russia against Ukraine; it's Vladimir Putin, and we can only hope that there are saner, more rational minds at work that have the long-term interests of Russia as a country. So if Vladimir Putin was to order a nuclear strike of some type, that those who control the weapons and would actually order the employment, their use, that they would refuse those sorts of orders. The Russian economy is already reeling. It'll be a pariah state for 20 or 30 years. It would take a very, very long time to get out of the damage to their military, the damage to the economy, and the credibility, amongst freedom-loving and law-abiding, nations. So the strategic winner right now is going to be China. Russia is going to go to a second or third tier country as a result of this invasion. But all of that will tell us that Putin will continue to do whatever it takes to win in his mind, because he's bet his entire future on it.
We're speaking with Dakota Wood right now, the Senior Research Fellow for Defense Programs at the Heritage Foundation. You've mentioned China. I know that we are also currently sitting at the table with Russia for that Iran nuclear deal. How does that deal fit into the context of our relationship with Russia in this tense time?
It puts us in a very weak position, which is never a good position to be in when you're dealing with these major players. The Biden administration is so desperate to salvage or to renew this very flawed agreement with Iran that the Obama administration had originally negotiated, that we're not even at the main table talking directly with the Iranians. We're using the Russians as the intermediary, and China is involved in that as well. So on the one hand, Russia is the facilitator for the Biden White House to get its new nuclear deal with Iran. And at the same time, it's the despotic regime that is killing women and children in Ukraine and threatening the viability of NATO. So, when you want something desperate enough, like the Biden administration wants with Iran and this deal, you're willing to sacrifice lots of things. You just don't have a lot of leverage. If you say or do something really, really bad against Russia and their aspirations in Ukraine, do they then shortchange or undermine efforts to get this nuclear deal with Iran? So it's a dangerous game that the Biden White House is playing. And I don't think it's working well on either front.
Dakota, I think it's important, too, because we've talked about the Iran nuclear deal for years now. It started 2 administrations, or I guess 3 administrations ago, including the current one. What is the Biden administration's goal in Iran with this nuclear deal, and why is it so important to this administration?
Iran has been enriching to very high levels of highly enriched uranium on their way to nuclear weapons grade, which is 90% or better, but they're already at that 65% level. And so the original deal under President Obama was that they would put all that effort aside for at least 10 years, reduce the amounts of enriched uranium that they had to very low levels and quantities, and that would give some breathing space to once again trying to bring Iran into peace-loving nations, to get it temper down, its threats against the state of Israel and drop its support for various terror groups. Clearly, none of that happened. They've got the largest ballistic missile inventory in the Middle East. They have missiles that will range most of Europe. They are continuing to enrich at extraordinary levels, the amount of uranium and the purity of that uranium. And so what the Biden team is trying to do after that horrible Donald Trump pulled the United States out of the deal, their perspective, right, is that they want to secure or score a geopolitical diplomatic win at being seen as further restraining Iranian nuclear ambitions. But if you're Iran, and you look around the world, wouldn't you want to have a nuclear weapon, to improve its stature, to make it bulletproof in any kind of attack, and to strengthen its hand in using terror groups through the Middle East to do things? So if they get to an agreement, it'll be a horrible agreement for the United States interests and the country of Israel, Saudi Arabia, and others in that region. But it seems that that's what the Biden team continues to want to do.
Dakota Wood, one last question for you. With the denuclearization of Ukraine that has taken place and the absence of a defense system that seems to have been put into place, I mean, it seems to me like Zelensky is begging all across the world for assistance with, not men to fight on behalf of Ukraine, but on materials and weapons. Can you explain to me the process of where they were, what they did to denuclearize, and why they don't have that defense?
So when the Soviet Union collapsed in the early 90s, a big chunk of the Soviet Union's nuclear weapons, launch vehicles, warheads, that sort of thing, was actually in Ukraine because it was part of that Soviet structure. So the Soviet Union collapses, all these republics become independent, and there were assurances made, not guarantees, not signed treaties, but these clear assurances that, hey, Ukraine, if you give to Russia or destroy, in other words, get rid of this nuclear capability, because one, you're poor, you don't have the technical expertise to really maintain it as an independent country, not supported by Russian scientists and all those sorts of things. But if you give all that stuff up, you'll be a good guy, and we will assure your continued security so you don't have these things to worry about. It was part of, a non-proliferation, denuclearization sort of effort. And people make all kinds of promises and assurances when the going is easy, when there are no big geostrategic, challenges, when Russia has been hobbled economically and military and all those sorts of things in the 90s. Well, now Ukraine is finding out they didn't have that strategic big stick, the potential of fighting back with nuclear weapons. And so they're very vulnerable to this large-scale conventional military power that's been used against them. So now think about North Korea. Hey, North Korea, give up your nuclear weapons. Well, what happens if somebody attacks us? Or, why wouldn't Iran want nuclear weapons, or Japan or Brazil or any other country? So when we don't follow through on our assurances, confidence building measures, it calls everything into question. And now Ukraine is saying, you didn't follow through on that. At least you can give us aircraft and weapons and, in large numbers so we can defend ourselves. And that's what President Zelensky is asking for.
All right. Well, thank you, Dakota, again, as always, for your insight on this. We look forward to talking to you again very soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
You as well. Senior Research Fellow for Defense Programs at the Heritage Foundation, heritage.org. I love speaking with him and getting his reaction to what's going on right now. It's just the world stage is so shaky right now. And while that's all taking place in our own homeland here, we have so many issues that are really attacking the average American individual. And I don't trust this administration's ability or even willingness at this point in time to juggle all of those things at once. Maybe I am missing the opportunities to see where they are successfully doing so. I haven't seen them. And I pay a lot more attention to this stuff, I think, than the average Joe does. And I am jealous of the average Joe in that regard. There are times where I'm like, I really wish I could hand this off and just ignore it for a while. But those folks, like I've said this multiple times now, the folks who normally don't pay attention to this stuff, they're seeing in their own lives some of these policies that have been put into place by our administration, our president right now, that are hurting the American people. And then on the world stage, you look at how all these things are interconnected, and it's frightening. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this. We'll get Hannah in here to talk about the YouTube poll and get you to go vote in it. Yeah, on the live chat on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. You go check that out right now and tell us if you've altered your driving habits due to the price of gas. Let us know if you have, and if so, how. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show. The Mark Cox Morning Show.
I'm watching the Kentucky game, and that did not pan out for anybody in that car.
It didn't pan out for anybody with a bracket, because nobody would have picked that kind of upset. Now I am reduced to rooting against Duke.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
So, poor Mark Cox. Stewie of Stewart's American Mortgage, he's the big loan guy. And when you are looking to save money, when you're looking to position yourself, your family in the best financial position, Stewart's American Mortgage is part of that decision. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to choose him to use your refinance, or even that you do have to refinance, but I am telling you, you have to give him a call or a text to see how he can help you. If you haven't checked your rate lately, you need to reach out to Stewie right now and figure out what you've got and what you can compare it to, how good it could be. Now, when you do a refinance, some people refinance to take cash out of their homes as the equity in their home has gone out. We just did that recently to make some home improvements. But we also previously did the big loan refinance with Stewie because it dropped our rate significantly. That was in 2019 when we decided just this past summer to do another refinance to take equity out of our house to do a home repair. We lowered our rate even more. I don't know if it's going to improve your rate. I have a feeling that if you haven't looked into this, it definitely will. But it's absolutely worth reaching out to Stewie, because when you use the big loan, you doesn't charge you any fees that everybody else out there is going to charge you for. 314-324-4440. Call or text 314-324-4440. Google the big loan, NMLS number 226715.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi. I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan at Community Mortgage. As we go into a new year, it is a great time to get started on a new home loan. If you've been thinking about a cash-out refinance to pay off debt or update your home, act now while equity is at an all-time high and interest rates are still at historic lows. Maybe it's the year that you're going to reduce your term or get rid of the dreaded PMI. Perhaps this is the year that you buy a new home. Call me now so you can shop with confidence. When you call, there will be no gimmicks or sales pitch, just straightforward, upfront information on refinancing and home buying options. So call me today, 314-336-6050, 314-336-6050, or online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, 224143, NMLS 250353.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct sealing services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic mornings and afternoons with Sue Thomas. Driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company, the best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
I'll be running circles around you sooner than you know. A little love Santa when I'm out at you. Just kicking this can along the avenue. But I'm alright.
It assumes we're all more afraid of COVID than anything else. I'm more afraid of cancer. Now, am I saying the vaccine causes cancer? Of course not. What I'm saying is we don't know a lot about health. We don't know what causes cancer. We don't know what confluence of different things. I'm not saying it's the vaccine. I'm saying until we answer basic questions about health, don't tell me how to handle my health.
Bill Maher there saying what we're all thinking, and glad that he's saying it. Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We're glad you're here. Until we know everything we need to know about it, please stop telling me how to handle my health. Now, I will apply that same thing to the economy and inflation and so on and so forth. Hannah, welcome into the studio. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Happy
Glad to be
Monday.
here.
So you've got a poll going right now on the Annie Frey YouTube channel. Tell us about that.
Yep. So it's located in the comments section of the Annie Frey YouTube channel. And the question today is, have you altered your driving habits due to the price of gas? Yes or no? So far, we have 67 votes. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll come back in a little bit and say the final results. But I'm a little surprised by the results so far.
Have you?
I personally have. Yes, I have altered my driving habits.
How have you changed?
Well, Parker and I kind of like fight now over who's going to drive. Because he's like, well, I have a truck and it uses more gas. And I'm like, well, I drive downtown every day. And we used to go on little like drives when it was nice outside, have the windows down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we cannot do that anymore. Way too expensive. And I think I've been like taking different routes, definitely not the scenic route anymore. And yeah.
So Brad, you're a car guy. Does it make more sense to drive the shortest distance, or does it matter? Is it better to drive the 45, 50 mile an hour one that might be a little bit longer instead of driving the speed limit?
So we're talking about distance versus like overall distance versus
speed.
It makes more sense to take the route that you stop less as long as they're similar in length, because whenever you stop the idling, you're getting 0 miles per gallon. Whenever you stop, you're turning all of your forward momentum back into heat through your brakes. So that's wasting energy. So the less you have to use your brakes, the more efficient your car is going to be.
Yeah, you got real technical there.
Yeah.
I totally believe it too.
It's the lesson, right? Don't use your brakes.
That's what I learned from that. Thank you. So here's this Bloomberg person. She wrote an op-ed and has some suggestions as to how people can handle the current situation. And this is all predicated with her saying, nobody said this would be fun. Okay. Thanks for that heads up there. Just curious. She says, inflation stings most if you earn less than $300,000. Here's how to deal. That now that public transportation prices are only up 8%. Public transportation up 8%, gasoline 38%. So there's one suggestion. To avoid the inflated meat prices. I mean, I guess meat prices are a big deal, but this administration is obsessed with talking about meat prices. Aren't you the
bridges?
And bridges. Bridges and meat prices. Don't get them confused. Instead of to avoid inflated meat prices, she suggests pivoting to vegetables. What?
It's not the same.
If you want to go eat a steak, if someone's like, have some asparagus instead.
Oh.
You know what that is? That's fighting words.
Yeah, fight me. Though your palate may not be used to it, tasty meat substitutes include vegetables. where prices are up a little over 4%, or lentils and beans, which are up about 9%. So instead of having your cheeseburger, why not have some lentils and beans?
Gross.
This is a sick joke.
Are you a meat
I don't
eater?
eat a lot of meat, but
Carnivore?
I've
seen you eat chicken.
You have?
I think so. Didn't you have chicken out there one time?
No.
Oh no, you told me you can't eat chicken.
No, I can't. I don't like to eat grilled chicken. What I'm supposed to, but
Yes.
Grilled chicken's the best.
I know.
Not
you
if it
always
tastes
try
funny to
talk
you.
me
Oh,
into
that's
that.
true.
But no, if I am wanting a steak and someone were to suggest to me asparagus or
beans,
yeah, I would be mad.
Can I offer you a carrot instead?
Yeah. No, you can't. That's not how this works.
Is that carrot made out of cow?
Oh. Let's see here. Plan to cut out the middle creature and consume plants directly. It's a more efficient, healthier, and cheaper way to get calories. Head patting. Oh my gosh. Like this, to me, I think she just kind of gave away the point here.
Mm-hmm.
This is more of a cut out the middle creature.
Be vegan.
No, not here. Not today.
No.
Not happening.
If God didn't want us to eat animals, why would he make them tasty?
Yeah. Who was the first person to try that? I guess it was Adam. I mean, in the Bible, that's the way. If you're going with
I
that.
wonder what that tastes like.
Yeah. I'm really hungry. That walking animal. I'm thinking about it. It's like, who did that?
Well, I
Thanks
have
for
a
trying.
little traffic update from Mark Reardon.
Okay. It's where we get
He-
all of our traffic updates on the Andy Fry
Yes,
Show.
our official traffic man. He
doesn't know
wanted
that.
to let you guys know that 44 westbound, just west of Kings Highway, is completely shut down due to an accident.
Say that again. 44.
44 westbound, just west of Kings Highway.
Yikes.
Yes, and that is my route home. So
Not today.
I'm going to have to find a different way home. So thanks, Mark Reardon. And if any of you listeners out there are going that way,
It's not his
luck.
accident, right?
no,
You
but
said thanks, Mark Reardon, in
he
a in
told us
a
about it.
accusatory way. Like he's at the one out
Yeah,
there.
causing the problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully everybody in that accident is okay, and we'll say a prayer for them as well. You might have to change your driving habits going home, though.
I will. Another way. I'm going to have to change my driving habits.
Have you
Right.
changed anything?
Anything? No, I was telling Hannah this earlier. My wife is very thrifty. She likes to save money. So like things like using a gas app and all these other things, we were already doing that. And so there's like no more thrifty things.
No
to
more
do.
room for
Yeah, there's no like
being
secret
cheap?
tricks or anything that
Which
we
I
can do.
respect. We're up to 77 votes right now on this poll. I
Ooh,
would love to
that
get over
jumped.
100 votes. So you have to go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel, and we're live there as we are every day. And there's a poll every day that Hannah monitors, and will let us know how it's going. So come let us know. And if you have changed them, or the other thing is like, when will it make you change your habits? People were suggesting for a while that gas would go up to like $8, $9, $10.
Oh,
Trump did. Trump
Mhm.
said in one of his speeches, you're going to see $7, $8 gas. And in California, haven't we seen
We have seen that.
that already? So, I mean, gosh, hopefully everything doesn't go the way of California. Illinois tries really, really hard, which is why I buy my gasoline in Missouri. Even right across the river, I'll say, got gas for $3.89. And then
what a steal.
all the Illinois people are like, where'd you get that from? I'm like, Missouri. And all the Missouri people are like, if you drive 4 or 5 miles further away from the river, it's $3.59 or something like that. Those people on the river, they know what they're doing. And I'm grateful for it. I'm okay with it because it still saves me. I think right now it's 40 to 50 cents difference here in Missouri comparative to Illinois. It's ridiculous. All right, Hannah, keep collecting those votes. 44 westbound.
Just west of 44 westbound, just west of Kings Highway, completely shut down.
Completely shut down. Thanks, Mark Reardon, for the update. We appreciate that. Ryan Wiggins back in studio with us here in the next hour. Plus, Hannah will update us on the poll. Come say hi. We'd love to talk to you. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is a great time of the year to upgrade the energy efficiency in your home with my friends at Window World. Mark Cox here to tell you more about my experience with Window World. They replaced a couple of windows at my house. They were just panes of glass. We wanted to be able to get some airflow into the master bathroom. They came out, they gave us a free estimate, and then had the windows at seams installed in no time. Very professional, lifetime warranty I get, and you get an extra double strength glass on their replacement windows that's not common. So you're getting a great price, simply the best for less. They do front entry doors, rear entry doors if you're looking to replace that back door or sliding glass door in your home. They've got a great selection at Window World. They're also right now offering 18 months, same as cash financing, of course, with approved credit. The preferred window of the St. Louis Blues, 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. When it comes to your tax issues, why would you trust some faceless national company that uses cartoons in its ads to protect you? Tax problems are not funny and should not be treated lightly. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need a lawyer that will protect your rights. You can't meet face-to-face with a cartoon, and what happens if the national company can't resolve your issue and stops returning calls? Do yourself a favor and call the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. I am a local attorney specializing in tax resolution. You can come in and sit down with a licensed, experienced attorney and put a name with a face. When it comes to tax issues, don't go with a cartoon. Get serious help with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. Call attorney Lance Drury, 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all the options available, you need a partner to ensure you maximize your investment. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, Board and Batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. They also carry Anderson and Marvin windows and doors. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free no-obligation consultation today. SidingExpress.com.
This is a place where your daily experience is the focus. A stunning locale of exceptional care and attention, where community comes together and new friendships form, where activities are limitless and amenities unsurpassed, and where you are surrounded by excellence. This is Allegro Richmond Heights, assisted living, memory care. Live beautifully. For a tour, call 314-202-5989 or visit AllegroLiving.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, driven by the Bomarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk.
An Odyssey station.
More sanctions may be coming. Elisa Brady, Fox News. A top European Union official says the bloc is ready to hit Russia with more penalties over the invasion of Ukraine, also accusing Russia's president of using refugees as a tool. Earlier, Ukraine rejecting Russia's demand to surrender the heavily bombarded port city of Mariupol to gain safe passage to get people out.
The Russian Defense Ministry offered an escape for the people who have been really tortured in the town of Mariupol. But their deal was that the Ukrainian fighters had to lay down their arms and surrender. That deal was flatly rejected. Meantime, the people in Mariupol are pounded from the sky for 2 weeks now.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Lviv. Meantime, the Biden administration is warning that Russia could be preparing for cyber attacks on critical infrastructure in the U.S. This based on evolving intelligence that the Russian government is exploring options. Confirmation hearings underway for Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I'm looking for a justice who will uphold the Constitution, not use it to invent new so-called rights.
Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, one of the Judiciary Committee Republicans who's expressed concern about the judge's record. Though she's been confirmed by the Senate before, she would be the first Black woman to serve on the high court. Listeria concern leads to a recall of fresh-cut fruits and veggies made by Fruit Fresh Up Inc., as well as ready-to-eat dips.
Fresh Fruit Up wants 30 products processed at its Depew, New York facilities pulled. They're sold under names including Wegmans, Fresh Harvest, Lexington Co-op, and Tops, distributed throughout New York and surrounding states. The Food and Drug Administration is saying Listeria monocytogenes was found on surfaces where products were packaged. Produce have best of use by dates between March 5th to 23rd of this year. It's March 15th through 31st for the dips.
Fox's Lillian Wu. So far, no illnesses reported. America is listening to Fox News.
Your life, your hopes, your passions. These things are none of our business. Your deodorant rash, your favorite cheese, and whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m. That's really none of our business. Because your life is private
And unlike other tech companies, we think your internet should be too. Oh, what kind of dog is that? That's none of our business either. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Dell's semi-annual sale is the perfect opportunity for a significant business upgrade. Save up to 45% on Dell computers with Windows 11 Pro and get an easy start to your workday. Plus, enjoy special pricing on Dell docks, monitors, servers, and more, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today to find the right tech for your business with fast, free shipping. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Breezy and warm on this Monday afternoon. Partly sunny skies. Let's top out right around 76 degrees. Tonight, clouds and showers. Could be a spot thunderstorm, but nothing severe. Windy and 50. Tuesday, windy, slightly cooler. A couple of showers, but no all-day rain. 62 degrees. Wednesday, periods of rain. High temperatures Wednesday, only in the 40s. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If it's happening in the world, the country, or the community,
What is happening in the world?
then it's happening here.
Why would we go to these ugly nations rather than drill more or ask Canada to pick up the pace? So what is happening?
This is where St. Louis comes to talk.
Because it's so relevant to what's going on now.
97.1 FM Talk.
Try to explain to me the scientific evidence that proves that that's the right thing to do.
Right here, right now.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mark Cox here. Join me and Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. We'll be joined by Annie Frey and Mark Reardon Tuesday, March 22nd at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. There's limited seating, so go online to retirementkey.com. Here's Thomas with more.
Did you know there are innovative financial tools that allow you to participate in the market growth and still protect you from losses? Are you concerned how all the market volatility is affecting your retirement accounts? Did you know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your 401k or company plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from losses and still generate more income than most investment options? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 or older, you don't want to miss this event.
Protect that retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisor of my show, Thomas Helbig, Tuesday, March 22nd at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Call 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Attention business owners. This is a public awareness message from the ThrottleNet cybersecurity team. The war against hackers and ransomware is underway. The only way to prevent the war from impacting your business is to speak with the ThrottleNet cybersecurity team immediately. You need to act now. The ThrottleNet cybersecurity team is prepared to protect you against cyber threats. Schedule a meeting right away by visiting throttlenet.com/cyberwar.
Get your biggest refund guaranteed. Jackson Hewitt Tax Pros will help find thousands worth of new tax credits, so you'll get every dollar you deserve. So why wait? Schedule an appointment with one of our tax pros and learn more at jacksonhewitt.com.
The Odyssey app is for this station and also for music stations. Get 97.1 FM Talk on your phone or pick a genre. It's all there. The Odyssey app. 971talk.com. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is sponsored by The Loading Dock, Riverviews, outdoor dining, live music, and overnight accommodations. Visit GraftonLoadingDock.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
I am a lifelong registered Democrat who ultimately feels politically homeless. It really started maybe right before Biden, but ultimately with the whole Biden election, I began to feel more and more disenfranchised from Democrats.
I would say I'm politically homeless now because I don't think the Democrats care about women and girls.
The Democrats are not even acknowledging women as a sex class now. Now men can have babies. Men need abortion. It's no longer even a women's issue.
It's very confusing, isn't it? Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Monday. There's a lot to talk about. Not much of it is happy. But I think that it is interesting to look at the makeup of the Republican Party today and the makeup of the Democratic Party today, and have the understanding that both of those political parties are having an introspective moment where they're saying, what do we stand for? What is our position on some of these issues that aren't necessarily talked about too much because the media controls they have such a firm iron grip on the conversations that we can have or can't have, or if you engage in a specific discussion about a particular issue, they threaten you with name calling and accusations to the point where you just say, this is not really worth it. I'm going to vote the way I'm going to vote, but I'm not going to talk to anyone about it. The culture issues, to me, are important and should be discussed, and we can certainly discuss them here at any time. But when it comes to the election in November, it seems to me that there's a pretty distinct choice that Americans have to make based on one party that believes that you should run your life and one party that believes that they know how to run your life. Brad, when you think about the comparison between the two, I mean, we're in a world now where actual discussions of World War III are on the table. The words nuclear war have been put on the table, and it costs a whole lot to be a middle class American these days. And if you've been in poverty before, it's not getting any better for you either. It doesn't take, you could just go back a month. I just looked this up. February 24th is when Russia invaded Ukraine. It's a month. It's the 21st today. That's almost a full month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a February month.
Yeah.
You look at what we were fully invested in at the same time as the invasion was what was going on in Canada. And it was COVID related. And what we've seen in Australia and New Zealand and other places in Europe, which has really pulled back on these types of, overlording restrictions. That was such a big issue. And if you think we were a month out of that, we're not really talking about it anymore. Is it still a big deal?
Is it still a big deal that Canada did what they did?
Is freedom, because we've said many times on this show before, like your choice is about liberty.
Yeah.
When you vote. Is it still?
It's still a big deal. And still should be a choice about liberty. I mean, and when we look at things and there's a cut of audio that I pulled there. Fauci's already saying, hey, if we see another rise in cases, we need to shut everything down again. It's about liberty. It's about that. It should still be about that. And it's not about Ukraine. It's not about any of that. It's ultimately, when you vote, you need to look at who is going to support, your individual rights, Here's
Fauci. Let's listen to what he says here, since you put in the word.
If we do see a significant surge, particularly one that might result in increased hospitalizations, we have to be prepared to pivot and perhaps reinstitute some of those restrictions.
Where did he say that?
That was on one of the Sunday morning shows. I want to say it was like Meet the Press.
Where's he been?
For a month?
He's been irrelevant for a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you ask the question, Ukraine, I think has been the news story, but I don't think that's really changed the way anybody is voting. I don't think that's put people into sides or camps or anything like that.
No, I think they want it to.
I do too, but I don't think that's happened. It's funny, Annie, the clip you played to begin the segment with people, women talking about how they felt politically homeless. Before they got to the issue that they were talking about, which is women's issues, I actually thought they were going to say because of COVID, because you find the same thing, not just with the woke politics, but with the government overreach, people saying, you know what, before that, I would have aligned on a lot of other things, but COVID kind of changed my mind on a lot of issues. One of those being schools, businesses closing, a lot that just touches people's lives in so many different ways.
I think it did, and I think it does, and I think people are not thinking about it right now.
Really?
No. There's I mean, where are you going right now where you're how frequently are you reminded about COVID in the last week?
Yeah, until this weekend when Fauci was appearing on some shows.
I mean, I don't watch Sunday shows. I watch the coverage of them or whatever, or maybe see something on Twitter. But we have to remember in this room specifically how much most Americans aren't saturating themselves with this stuff.
Right.
In your life, Brad, in your life, where is COVID a thing?
Well, if you're asking specifically about the response to everyday people to COVID, now I do think people are over it. But as far as the way it's made them feel about politics and the way they vote, I don't think they've forgotten.
I guess the question is how long is their memory? You know, I mean, people get fired up, but I mean, I think in this day and age, people don't have a very long memory.
No.
And
are you being reminded of COVID in your life?
In my life? No, I don't. Well, whenever I find like an old mask in my yard or something.
How does that make you feel?
That angry.
So that's the political connection that you might have. But I mean, you got to fill up at the gas pump. You've got to go to the grocery store. Meat prices, people. Meat prices, meat prices, meat prices.
Right.
That's what we keep hearing from the Biden administration. The things that are being put at the top of Americans' list are the day-to-day things, and COVID is not it. And that is a fantastic thing. And we're talking here about the way the media pushes the story and gets to prioritize for the country what those big stories are. And in doing so, the media hasn't had the ability to push the COVID fear. I don't know how else to say that word. Tactics. Starts with a P.
Panic?
No, don't say it. Panic is okay. Why would I not say panic?
I don't know. I don't even know what word you're hinting at now. So I thought I did.
I think you do, and now you're just trying to get her to say it.
Do you?
I know what word you're going to use.
I just think that when you have a corporate media structure that's job it is to say, all right, folks, this is the story. This is what we're going to push. We heard Jeff Zucker saying on those Veritas tapes, the CNN tapes that came out, which ironically weren't those tapes out at the same time where they tried to like put a hit on Melania Trump for saying that all that anybody wants her to do is decorate the White House for Christmas. And she's like, screw Christmas. I want to help these kids. And then the media's like, Melania Trump hates Christmas. And it's like, right. Oh my gosh, people, you've lost your minds. And CNN got all bent out of shape about Project Veritas exposing them. They're like, we're not airing, stolen audio. And they just like obsessed over Melania Trump tapes day after day because they wanted to literally make her the Grinch.
Yeah. And the tapes didn't say anything.
No.
They just made her identifiable.
I was like, I love her more now. Like, this is the most candid I've ever heard. Melania Trump, she doesn't like... She identifies the media the way we identify the media. She knows that it's a game, and she knows that the only thing that most people around her want her to do is to decorate the White House for Christmas, and she's trying to help kids, and nobody will even cover the story. That was the way the corporate media works. They drive the story. They pick and choose what they want the world or the country to focus on, and COVID doesn't have the luxury of being it right now. The left doesn't have the luxury of it being, which I imagine is a very frustrating thing because there's a lot of good news to be talking about right now. Could be a victory lap from the guy who said repeatedly, I'm going to shut down the virus. 3 syllables, folks. Virus. And in many capacities across the country, we have good news to share. Fauci's stepping up and saying, oh, hey guys, remember me? That makes me nervous. Because if the pivot is going to be, let's get the narrative back, because none of this is going well for Biden. If COVID is where they needed to go well for them, we in trouble.
You know, the other thing that came out of those Veritas tapes that we didn't mention as much is the fact that Zucker was saying openly, all right, as soon as COVID's done, we're going to pivot to climate crisis. I mean, they were planning it. And I think we would be in the midst of that right now because, like you said, COVID, people aren't thinking about it anymore. It's pretty much done. We would be looking at that on CNN every day if it weren't for Ukraine right now.
We'd be talking about earthquakes that are happening. We'd be talking about different weather events.
Any weather event that happened.
Anything that was like dramatic they'd be like, and this, of course, is a result of climate change. Stop it.
All the time. So you have women like Brian was pointing out that clip that we pointed at the beginning, which kind of got us into the COVID thing. But you have women who are Democrats who are looking at the Democratic Party and going, we kind of don't belong here. Like, women don't even get to have women's issues anymore. It is not a ridiculous thing to say, folks, that women have babies. It's also not a hateful thing to say that women have babies. You know, I think that there's a way that you can understand the existence of people who live non-traditional or alternative lifestyles than the gender binary that has existed for all of time. You can acknowledge that there are people who are out there who live those different lifestyles, and you can choose to be loving and caring to those people, which we should be loving and caring to all people. And you can still defend the idea of being a woman. Because if you don't, right now, that's being stripped away from women. The exact existence of what feminists for generations, I was going to say decades, but really generations, what they have fought for is for an equal voice and for the opportunity to not be discriminated against at the conference table, in a business situation, or really anywhere in a sales situation, because of the fact that they are women. And there was like this whole, like, I remember in the late 80s and the early 90s, I remember there being a lot of graphic t-shirts out that were like about being a strong girl. Because I wanted them. I wasn't wearing t-shirts that said, like, I am woman, hear me roar. But that was kind of the mantra of that time, was the suggestion that it was powerful to be a girl. And I remember seeing that message and consuming that message like, yeah, you're right. It is powerful to be a girl. I like that. And I also remember at the same time being exposed to the understanding that this was a political message that was being put on kids' t-shirts, which I still see today. And I'm not really, particularly for me in my profession, I try to keep my kids as far away from politics as possible because I want them to be kids as long as they can possibly be. And I know that I have to shield them from the world in order to keep their innocence intact. But this idea that there was strength in being a girl, now literally anybody can be a girl. I think that that's not a good thing. I think it's a bad message to send to our young girls. I think it's a bad message to send to our old women who fought for the right for women to have an equal place. I mean, I have to think that I'm a product of stuff that women that came before me said that if a woman wants to come out and share her opinions, that should be as welcomed as it is for a man. I know that in this industry, I am going to be judged by you as a listener differently than a man who does and says exactly what I say. That it's going to be judged differently because I say it as a woman. And I think that's something that I need to be aware of, that I can use as a strength, even if I am respectful of it, how people hear me and hear what I say, I can use that as a strength rather than constantly looking at myself like I'm some sort of victim. We have a society and a culture now that profits off victimhood, and there's so much profit to be had, but the victims never get access to the profit. The victims have to always continue to be present and prevalent so that the profiteers can continue to profit off of them. That political capital and profit never makes its way to the victims. That's an upside down, backward society. And it's interesting to me, it's kind of to your point, Ryan, to hear these Democrats talking about this in an issue that is squarely women's issues is squarely in the arena of the Democratic Party. Women's issues aren't even women's anymore. They're everybody's. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Frey Show in a minute. Please go vote. We are very close to, we have 98 votes on the YouTube poll today. Have you altered your driving habits due to the price of gas? Let us know on the live chat portion of the Annie Frey YouTube channel. We're there every day and happy to be. We'll be back with more in a minute. Don't go away.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie. 97.1 is St. Louis's radio destination for information with perspective. It's where St. Louis and beyond comes to talk. Right here, right now. This is 97.1 FM Talk.
Lakeside Renovation and Design has the best installers, and they know that when they're working on your house and they're putting in Infinity for Marvin fiberglass windows, that they need to do it by the book. And they've been chosen to do that. I think that's one of the main keys about Lakeside that helps consumers, people who are looking for a project to be done at their house, choose to use Lakeside Renovation and Design, because the manufacturers who make these high quality, top tier products, they choose Lakeside Renovation and Design to install these products in your home because they need their product to shine. They have top quality products, and if they're not installed correctly, then that reflects poorly on that product. Lakeside Renovation and Design has wonderful people who are working for them. Like I said, the top installers that give them the confidence that they need, that they can provide you a lifetime warranty on that installation process. They also have really, really great financing options. If you're going to do a interior, exterior project on your home, that can add up in cost, of course. 0% financing makes your project much, much more doable. And Lakeside Renovation and Design can connect you with the opportunity to do that. 636-978-5000 is the number you call. 636-978-5000. You can find them online at lakesidrenovationanddesign.com.
Find podcasts for your passions on Odyssey.
Like the documentary series Love Thy Neighbor about the 1991 Crown Heights riots.
It was an accident which other people used as an excuse to murder one member of our community.
Or The 11th.
Bringing you true, unexpected stories.
And experience the new podcast movie thriller Ghostwriter.
Starring Kate Mara and Adam Scott.
Maybe it's not a whodunit. If we know who the killer is all along, the real mystery is why.
Find all the podcasts that matter to you in a universe of audio.
Odyssey.
Wealth changing question. Is your advisor giving you incomplete advice? Besides investing, there's also taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other elements that can be stressful to organize. At Creative Planning, we provide all the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house, ensuring all aspects of your wealth are working harder together, so you can enjoy your wealth instead of worrying about it. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
When Richard Irvin decided to take on Pritzker for governor, he wasn't following a whim. He was answering a long familiar call to duty. Irvin joined the Army out of high school, served in Desert Storm, decorated for bravery. Surviving a brush with death in a dangerous war zone, Richard dedicated his life to service because he loves his country and knows how fragile freedom and security are. As a prosecutor, Irvin put thugs behind bars, drug dealers, gangbangers, 1,000 convictions, hired more cops, and cleaned up crime as mayor, balanced budgets, passed property tax relief. When riotous looters came to town, Irvin shut them down. He knows we'll lose the country he fought for if the radical woke mob takes control. Irvin says all lives matter, that schools shouldn't teach kids to be ashamed of their color or country, that we'll take our state back if we have strong, service-minded leadership. And that's Richard Irvin, our next governor, paid for by by Irvin for Illinois.
Are you a baby boomer with questions or concerns regarding your retirement plan? How about the future of U.S. tax rates and trends? Does your retirement portfolio fully support your income needs? I'm Ken Heisey of Heisey Advisory Group. I can help answer those questions and more. Register for one of our upcoming retirement workshops on Thursday, March 24th or Tuesday, March 29th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. This 2.5-hour workshop will cover 3 essentials: income planning, investment planning, and tax-efficient strategies. Call now to register at 314-328-6000. Again, 314-328-6000. If you have the slightest doubt about your retirement plan, or if you don't have a retirement plan, this workshop is designed for you. Seating is limited, so call now to register at 314-328-6000.
Heisey Advisory Group provides insurance services but may not give tax advice. Firm is not affiliated with the U.S. government. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investing involves risk.
I know this pain. Why do you lock yourself up in these chains? No one can change your life except for you.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Is it really fair to feel this way inside?
You guys know the music video for this?
Offhand, I can't picture it.
This is an iconic song, right?
Okay.
Hold on, Wilson. You say okay like you believe me.
I do believe you. I mean, I know the song, but yeah.
If you had to, could you sing the song?
Ooh. Maybe just the hold on part. I don't know the verses.
If you go watch this music video, I feel like maybe we should share it. I was watching it last night while I was picking songs for the show today, and it's terrible. It's so bad.
Now I want to see it.
But it's like it's epically this time of existence.
Oh yeah, what is
like
it, 1985 or something?
I was gonna say 80s, and then I'm like, it's probably 1990, and people go, it's not an 80s song. Hold on,
You're probably
Wilson.
right. It is later 80s. That's my guess. Oh yeah, recorded 1989. Come out 1990.
Release 90. See, there you go. There's a trivia for you. Is that mean if it was recorded in 89 and released in 90s, which is it? Is it an 80s or a 90s?
Ooh, I think it's when it's released.
I do too.
So
when it was given to the public.
Here's the question. If it's released on the record in 1989, but it's not released on a single until 1990, then which is it?
I think you have to choose if either both people arguing are right or both are wrong. And in politics, it's usually both are wrong and everybody's mad and they go home. The music video is so like what if we gave Hannah a task to make a music video, a Ryan Wiggins music video, it would on her phone. It would be better than the Wilson Phillips music video.
Oh, that sounds great.
I really because it's such an iconic song and it's actually an iconic music video too. Like you would recognize the image of them sitting on the beach and her singing this song.
Okay.
But then they're in like these random mountains.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it starts in the mountains.
But like in the mountains.
They're riding goats.
I'm trying to think, how did you get there? And I just in my mind am like, how does this?
Oh yeah, it's not just in the mountains. It's like helicopter shots of them on the top of a mountain.
Like they had to get dropped in.
Yeah. Wow, this is impressive.
In a not impressive way.
In a very low budget way.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, did they not know that if they're making a music video of this song, they had to know that it was music video worthy. You don't make a music video of every song on an album.
They were right. I mean, they picked it, and it's still a recognizable song. So they picked well. And then it just goes to the beach. You're right.
I know. And then they're all sitting so close on the beach.
Mm-hmm. And running their fingers in the sand, and they're passionate.
Passionate about telling you to hold on for one more day because things will go your way. Hold on for one more day.
It's so funny watching without the sound.
I was watching it last night while Jared was playing Fortnite with Brad, actually. And our friend Eric. Hi, Eric. Thanks for listening. And I was picking music and I pulled that up because it was just a suggestion that popped up. And I watched the whole thing. I couldn't turn away.
Yeah. I mean, they are passionately singing, like beating their breast while they're doing it. It's all the way.
Brian says, what song are they talking about? We're talking about Hold On by Wilson Phillips. And Jackie and Margie and other people here are talking about Bridesmaids. And if you know, you know. Have you seen Bridesmaids?
Yeah, but I don't remember this song.
It's at the end, at the wedding.
I've only seen it once.
Everything is terrible. And at the end, somebody starts singing Hold On. And then they go into the whole thing. That is a better music video than the actual Wilson Phillips one.
Of course it is.
Because I think that the one woman I think Wilson Phillips is like at the wedding.
Oh, yeah? Well, Wilson Phillips is 3 people. I didn't even know that. I thought it was 2, Wilson and Phillips. Who's the third one?
And they're women. I thought Philip was a dude, but Wilson too.
Yeah, Wilson from Tool Time. I thought it was him and somebody else.
Whoa, they're girls.
It's a light bulb moment.
And the guy who invented the Phillips screwdriver.
Dan says that Bridesmaids is a chick flick. I would tell you that if you watched it, you will laugh.
It is, but it is funny.
It's a very fun. It's funny.
It's like Mean Girls. It's
that's
movie,
a documentary though.
That
that's
movie is funny, but it also is for girls.
I can watch that movie a million times.
Yeah. Wilson Phillips.
People are still making music videos, but it seems to me like the music video culture is so much different now. Everything, because YouTube is so it just elevates the platform of being able to visually see these songs. It's just, I would imagine, a much bigger portion of the process.
It actually is part. I don't know if it was there because right when I was leaving music, they were talking about transitioning record label contracts to include what artists made on YouTube because it was such a part of the revenue stream now.
Brian on YouTube says 2 of them are daughters of Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Oh, so 2 of them are Wilsons and 1 of them is a Phillips.
Yep.
Did you hear
if we have fake news about anything, I'm okay with about
Did you
this.
hear him clout drop like right before he made a statement? He's like, back before I left the music industry.
Did he do it again?
Yes,
no, look, how am I supposed to tell you that story without telling you the context?
Yeah, that's
because it was about to change, but I never knew if it did because I'm not in it anymore.
I don't even remember the story you just told.
That's how good it was.
Terry on YouTube says, I think 2 of the women in the group are the Wilson sisters, and then the other is China Phillips.
Really? China Phillips. China Phillips.
CHYNNA, according to Terry.
I wonder which of the 2 are the Phillips, are the Wilsons then?
What if we just did our entire show where I throw out a topic and then we just ask each other questions and then the listeners tell us the answers on YouTube?
We just read it. I mean, that's what this segment is.
We're just reporting a bunch of stuff about Wilson Phillips, which literally nobody cares about right now.
Breaking news.
Well, listener Joe says blah, blah, blah. And we're like, sounds legit. Let's keep rolling with it.
Have you ever heard the song Hold On from 1990?
Carney Wilson. Yes.
Yes. Carney.
Carney Wilson, she is the dark-haired one. She has famously struggled with her weight a lot. And I'm going to say this because I thought it throughout the entire music video that I was watching. The way they depict her, she's a bigger girl, whatever. But the way they depict her versus how she would be depicted today, assuming that she would be okay with it, incredibly different representations of a girl that is not a size 2, which I am very happy with the body positivity movement that has allowed girls of all kinds of sizes to feel good about themselves. I think that if you're doing it in like the majority of the body positivity discussion is from companies who are selling you something. And that's always important to understand. That you don't have to, they're doing with size 0s and double 0s. Do you know that size 00 is a thing? 0 is the smallest woman size, except for there's a 00 that exists in some places.
You could have told me that women's sizes started at 5 or 6, and I would have been like, oh, yeah, I have no idea.
Double zero is a size. I mean, that's like you would have to be incredibly petite to begin with, but just like so tiny. I don't know if you really remember this, but I mean, in the 90s, and I don't really know about the 80s, but specifically in the 90s and probably the early 2000s, like rail thin, bones jutting out, skinny.
Runway models.
Kate Moss,
Yeah,
yes.
Kate Moss.
Yes, runway models. That's not a healthy image.
No.
Like, Ryan, you don't want your daughter growing up looking at that like that's what she has to be. And I mean, your daughters are all very healthy. You have one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Two boys.
Two boys.
I don't know if you've gotten that far yet because how old is she?
7.
She's getting there. She's going to start noticing these things. And it's important for them to understand what healthy looks like. Forget what Hollywood says is beautiful, because that's always going to change. On trend is always going to change based on what they feel like they can make money off of. And when I was growing up, that was the super rail thin, bony curves are not anywhere to be seen. And then the pendulum has swung now so far into the other realm where they use the idea of big is beautiful. Well, of course, big is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with being big, but in a way that they're celebrating it, I don't think really advocates any more for girls to be healthy than it did on the other end, where it's like, you need to starve yourself and never eat. And this is what's beautiful and nothing else counts.
Yeah. You know, what's weird is, and I never would have thought about this before having a daughter, but after having a daughter, and it started right away. And I think because my wife's very conscious of the language that you use and these things, but so is all of society. So I've had to go from one end of the pendulum to the other, because at first I was like, oh, I got to be really careful with what I say. But then I was like, you know what? I'm getting to the point where I'm worrying about what I'm saying, and she doesn't care. I mean, if she knows that I love her and that I am going to protect her, then I can say that you're wonderful and you're beautiful and whatever to her and not worry. I have had to go to the other extreme and make myself not worry about what I say to my daughter.
Well, I'll say, as for advice that you're not asking for, but as a mom of 3 girls now, and a 12-year-old son who needs to see these things too, that the most important thing that my daughters can have from my husband is an example of how a man should treat a woman.
Exactly.
And that is your job, is to make sure you treat your wife right, and to make sure that those girls always know that you value them, and that it doesn't have to do with those materialistic things, because the world is going to teach them all these other things. They need to have a home base, and making sure that they have examples around them of healthy relationships, but also, because the world is the world, they're going to have examples of unhealthy relationships, that they have something to contrast that to and have the ability to discuss that. They need to know girls need to know and see in practice how they should be treated. And nobody can do that like Dad can.
Yeah. And I think, to clarify what I'm saying, is I felt like I was having to walk a tightrope based on what everybody was telling me. This is the way you have to do this. And it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm a broken person. I'm going to mess up. But as long as my daughter knows that I love her and that everything I'm telling her is coming from a good place, I shouldn't have to worry about it. And the less I worry about it, the less she's going to worry about it.
And she needs to understand that she's a broken person. She's going to mess up.
Exactly.
And someday she's going to be with a broken person who is going to mess up. Like the brokenness, learning how to push through that brokenness. And honestly, this is not an advertisement for parochial school, but the biggest thing that I wanted for my kids in a parochial atmosphere, for my kids, it's a Lutheran school atmosphere, is not just the distinguished difference between right and wrong, which I think is very much so being blurred in the public school system, but it's right, it's wrong, and it's forgiveness. And forgiveness is the most important part of that, because you need to have an idea of repentance. You need to be able to say, I messed that up, and somebody needs to say, I forgive you.
Yeah.
That's where the learning comes. And that's how you learn to give forgiveness.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great point, because it's not just saying the right things and doing the right things. It's also acknowledging that I'm not going to do all those things right. And my sons aren't, and the way I treat them as well, but also teaching her and them, ultimately I'm going to mess up and I'll say something that probably hurt your feelings at some point, but know that I love you. And really there's only one person that's going to love you perfectly. And he's 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
You know,
Holly on YouTube says, as an obese person, I'm thankful for the body positivity and featuring of plus size women, but I do not approve of glorifying it. It is so unhealthy and limiting. I think that's a great perspective on it. And Andy on YouTube here says, my day was not going great. Then you played this as bumper music and have jumped down the Wilson Phillips rabbit hole to find me. I'm here, usually alone, but thank you.
But hold on.
Andy.
The message to you.
Hold on for one more day. You'll be glad you did. Don't go away.
Change your mind. Now. Someday somebody's gonna make you want to turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry?
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Hold on for one more day. Hold on.
Mark Meredith Show.
Frank Cusimano right now from KSTK. Jack Flaherty. It's going to start the season on the injured list with what the team is calling is a small tear in his right shoulder.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Closet Factory, online at closetfactory.com. Oh my gosh, these people are lifesavers, especially spring is here, folks. And if you're thinking about spring cleaning, I always get the urge to purge when it comes to this time of year, to get rid of stuff and to organize. The Closet Factory are the go-to when it comes to getting your space finally in order. It's very hard to do that spring cleaning and that organization process when you don't have a place for those things. And let's face it, you'd like to get rid of a lot of stuff, but there are things that you need to have in your house and they need their own specific home. If you're looking for built-ins, if you're looking for a master closet revamp or a pantry revamp, or maybe that mudroom finally needs to have the organization and storage space so it can take in all of the stuff that you put in there, the Closet Factory is the go-to place. I loved working with Candace at the Closet Factory. Whoever comes out to your house will give you a customized solution for your home, whether you're looking for function or something that you can't wait to show off to everyone because of how great it looks, and the function, of course, is certainly there. The solution is the Closet Factory. Find them online at closetfactory.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Hi, this is Arnold, owner of the Good Feet Store. Do you have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning because of a sharp pain in your heel?
I did. I had plantar fasciitis. I had a burning sensation on the bottom of my feet. I went to the Good Feet Store, and what a relief. And now I never go without my Good Feet support.
Are your knees and back killing you by the end of the day?
It was getting so severe, I almost stopped walking. I have no problems with my knees now. I couldn't believe how fast it helped me.
You deserve a better life, too. Come to the Good Feet Store today.
Call 314-317-9494 or visit one of our 2 locations on Olive, Catty Corner from TGI Fridays, or in Shiloh, Illinois, across from Deerbird.
Thanks to the Good Feet Store.
Individual results may vary. Consult your physician for medical conditions. Visit the website goodfeetstlewis.com. Pain relief and comfort to fit any budget. Come in for a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
Looking to sell your house without all the hassle and pricey repair costs? Great, because Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis loves buying fix-up homes in any condition, as is, no fees and no commissions. Call 314-782-8000, and Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis will give you a cash offer right now. No strings attached. We buy inherited houses, divorce houses, trashed houses, even those my tenant won't pay rent houses. Call Chris at 314-782-8000 and find out how easy it is to work with us. That's 314-782-8000. Do you think your home will be difficult to sell? Easy. Our team will provide you with personal guidance through our short and simple process to turn your house into a pile of gold. Just call Chris at 314-782-8000. 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000. And let Chris worry about everything.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Get your HVAC system ready for warmer weather with a cooling system check included with all maintenance plans from Air Comfort Service. Maintenance plans start at $15 per month. For details and to get in your comfort zone, visit aircomfortservice.com.
bringing you up-to-the-minute traffic like nobody else. Sue Thomas and dependable traffic, driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show.
That's all she could get out.
This is the funny part. This is not funny. Let's go to Hannah in the poll
What
department.
is happening? What did you start laughing at?
Okay, well, I have the final results of the poll. We got 112 votes, which is the most we've ever gotten.
Thanks,
so
guys.
I'm happy about that.
Come back tomorrow to the Annie Frey YouTube live chat for a new poll. I usually put it up in the evening, somewhere between 7 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Set your reminders, people.
Yeah, exactly.
The question was, have you altered your driving habits due to the price of gas? 59% of people said no, they have not. And 41% of the people said that they have. I'm a little surprised by these results.
59 said no.
59% of people said no.
Ryan, we haven't asked you yet, have you?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Well, I haven't altered the amount that I'm driving, but I have altered that my wife and I are changing cars.
You've changed something.
I have changed something. And that is, well, I'm using a gas app now so that I can log in and get a little cash back when I fill up.
How does that work for the people at home who don't understand? Including me?
So you have to enter your credit card, and then when you show up at the gas station, you say log in, and it says, okay, you're at one that's going to give you 18 cents back or up to 60 cents back on some of them. So it's worth
60 cents total?
Yeah, per gallon.
Per gallon.
Are you getting that much back?
Well, I think I'm still in the promo phase, so I think it's giving me more.
How
than
does it know? Like what?
I mean, you can tell it to log where you're going, just like
so
any other
it
app.
Tracks you?
If you want it to.
So you have to give it your credit card, and then it tracks you.
Yeah, you give it your credit card, and you tell it where you're at all times.
What was the name of this app again?
You have to take a picture
wow,
of
this
yourself.
sounds great.
No.
Gullible.com.
Like Gas Fisher, PHIS.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. And then it takes all of your information and it does something with it out there somewhere. And then somewhere down the road, you get $2.
Isn't that so much? Isn't that so?
That's the lengths we have to go to now.
But that is such a common thing, though. And I've surrendered myself to it. I mean, I know people attack me for liking Disney. It is what it is. But Disney owns so many things that chances of people who are like, you should be boycotting going to Disney, blah, blah, blah. I can like throw out about a dozen things that you probably partake in at least a few of them, and it's still the same company. It's the same thing when it comes to like big tech and the way they surveil our lives, and people, don't do this or don't do that. Like you don't have an Alexa in your house or whatever. But I mean, like my entire existence is on this phone right here, right now. And one thing I've given into is tracking. Do you track people on your phone? Do you and your not like not
you could do that?
Not people, but
mean,
like your wife.
Only you,
Not
Annie.
people, just your wife.
I know where you are at all times, but that's it.
Terrifying. That's like the time you texted me, "Can I come in?" And I was like, this must be an old text, but he was actually on my porch.
Just standing out in the front yard with a radio above my head.
It didn't. There was never like a "Hey, can I come by and get my jacket?" or anything like that. Only text I got from him that day was, "Can I come in?"
I was just creeping you out.
Yes, you
And it
were.
worked.
Nobody's arguing with you about that. That's like that's the entirety. He was in my driveway. I opened my Ring doorbell, and I'm like, there he is. What the heck?
For context, she told me a few days in a row, you left your coat at my house for a Christmas party.
No, that's not true.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll come and get the coat.
This was weeks after you left your coat at my house.
It was like mid-January.
It was
I had
mid-January.
completely forgotten that it was hanging in our coat closet in the front of the house.
Well, I know that's why I had to come to your house to get it.
I know, but there were no days leading up to me talking to you about you coming to my house.
No, you're right. You're
That's
right.
important context.
You're right. You didn't say, "Hey, come to my house and get your coat."
No,
but there
you
were a
said,
few times you said, "I still have your
You
coat."
said, "Can I come in?"
Yes.
Out of
Yes,
nowhere.
that is a fact.
From my doorstep.
Yes. Yeah.
He's already inside.
That's the Can I come in?
Hey, I'm in the foyer.
And he's like leaning his head around the hall door, like, "Hey, can I come in here? Is
You guys
this
getting
okay?"
a new deck soon? Because the steps felt a little shaky.
Yeah. The steps were shaky. They were detaching, and there's still no deck in our house. But it is. I think that there are the pillars.
Mhm, yeah, I know.
These things.
Yeah, you got the pillars up.
He was there last night late.
He's like, "I know exactly where you are in this process."
Yeah,
Can
I've
I
been
come
talking to the guy.
I do want to get to this. Okay, so 59% said they
Said
didn't.
no.
Okay, I do want to get to this story before we go to break because this is kind of news that is breaking right now, and I'm tweeting out the link to this on the 97.1 website. Ex-wife accuses top Missouri GOP Senate candidate Eric Greitens of abuse. This is the story that's on our website right now. Former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens, now a leading Republican Senate candidate, was physically abusive and demonstrated such, quote, unstable and coercive behavior, end quote, that steps were taken to limit his access to firearms, according to new allegations from his ex-wife revealed in court records on Monday. I'm going to scroll down here. This is from the filing. So this is in a court document. This isn't just like a comment that was made on a radio show somewhere. Like I just thought of the least credible place.
Some radio show in quotes.
Whoops. Some television show somewhere. This is what she said in a court filing. Prior to our divorce, during an argument in late April 2018, Eric knocked me down and confiscated my cell phone, wallet, and keys so that I was unable to call for help or extricate myself and our children from our home. I became afraid for my safety and that of our children at our home. Later adding that his, quote, behavior included physical violence toward our children, such as cuffing our then 3-year-old son across the face at the dinner table in front of me and yanking him around by his hair. So that is the latest news on Eric Greitens in this case. I mean, certainly he would have the ability to defend himself against that, but this is all coming out based on a child custody battle that is taking place since their divorce after he resigned his position as Missouri governor.
Yep, custody battle taking place in public. That's what's going on here.
Which is awful for the kids.
It's awful for the kids.
And everybody else who's associated with
When
it.
you are a major Senate candidate, this stuff gets a lot of attention too.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be surprised if this isn't going away.
This article also says that I think that Sheena has looked to move her family to Austin, I believe, in an effort to try to get her family out of the spotlight while he continues to try to come back. So I wanted to get to that. I'm going to tweet out this article so there are more details there than what I read here because we're running out of time. But that's a sad thing to hear. And, you know, I guess when I think about it, I hope that all of that's not true for the sake mostly of the kids. But that was put in a court document, which from what I understand would mean that there was some sort of oath that was taken that was a true statement. This sucks.
Yep. This is the kind of stuff that makes its way to the top of. You will not stop hearing about, as of today, you will not stop hearing about this from now until the primary, for sure.
I mean, the red wave that's coming is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Things like this can screw that up on a local level.
Well, I mean, when you look at, it's taking a step back for a second. Republicans need to take back the Senate. That's why these are stories. Because if this was a custody battle going on and Greitens wasn't running, nobody would even know it was happening. So the politics is the reason why it's a story. So the idea that this could derail the entire balance of the Senate, that's why this stuff is a big deal.
Well, we'll cover more of it as it continues to develop. Camille tweeted at me on Twitter earlier, which is where you tweet, and said at Annie Frey Show, "Hold on is epic. How dare you?" What did I do?
You were singing.
I said it was epic. I played it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was slamming Hold On.
And then she tweeted at you and me and said, boy, you guys are making me feel old today.
Hey, Andy, before we get out of here, we need to do a time check.
I did that already. It is 2:56 though. You can donate your car to Goodwill and get 2022 Cardinal tickets at mergegoodwill.org. Use promo code Cardinals Hair. How's that?
That's
just
awesome.
as true at 2:56 as it was at 2:07.
Either way,
it's still true.
just donate your car, people. Just
Get
do
rid
it.
of it.
Just do it. Mark Reardon Show, and for more traffic updates, he can tell you all about that accident in just a minute. Don't go away.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/hire. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites